Does the black moon howl?
Only for those with an unwavering desire to hear the truth.
Access granted.
You have been selected for an opportunity, an orientation as a trusted associate, if you will, into the secured, contained, and protected files of the Foundation. SCP Unredacted distributes new files for review Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on secure channels on YouTube, Spotify, and scp-unredacted.captivate.fm.
Hey there, SCP fans. My name is Grigori Karpin, and this is Simply Creative People, the show about SCP creatives, be they authors, artists, or off-site content creators like YouTube and TikTok. We're focused on bridging the gap between various fans and serving as an introduction to different concepts and stories on the wiki. So, many welcomes to all, and let's get started. Okay, and welcome back to Simply Creative People. This is episode 30, which is, wow.
Wow.
I know, I can't believe we've made it this far. My name is Grigori Karpin. I'm an author on the wiki, and as always, my lovely co-host is...
I'm HarryBlank for computers.
And today, joined for the first time on the podcast, is that person, which is Daveyoufool.
Hello, everybody. I'm Daveyoufool.
I thought you were going to try and communicate through beeps and whoops for the whole episode, which would have been funny for about 5 minutes.
Do I look like R2 motherfucking D2 to you?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, it was because computers. I fucked up. Yeah,
dare you.
that's what you get for not writing shit down, eh?
You good, bro.
Today we're talking about something I have read every single page from, and yet still managed to forget one of the slogans from.
Magnificent.
So yeah, we got Dave on because we're going to be talking about TotleighSoft. Is that how you say it?
I've always pronounced this TotleighSoft just because
Totley.
The name came from this stupid show my dad likes, Totley Towers. I mean, it's got John Cleese in it, but he really was in his mode, in my opinion, when he was in Monty Python.
Fair enough. So I thought, and I put it on the outline, but I just thought we would, kind of talk about, for Creative Corner, we like to address certain things that we do or different, elements to the creative process. And, for yourself, because like me, I know you have a day job and you also have a burgeoning writing career with published works. So how do you find, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, how do you find time to write, while you have these other distractions or, how do you manage that creative time?
Well, how do I find time? I don't. I just pretend I do have time and then let it bite me in the ass.
Well,
that's familiar.
That's relatable, yeah. Yeah, I find that, even when I have free time, if I don't, honestly set it aside for it, this is writing time, it won't get done. The PlayStation will call to me or something on Steam or, I'll get on the phone with my girlfriend and I won't write. I will, and then I'll be suddenly oh, time to go to bed.
I've got ADHD, so, there's that old saying, I gotta pay the ADHD tax. Meaning, you gotta carve out something in advance knowing you're gonna fuck around.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I mean, even when I sit down to do writing time, I would say a solid quarter of that time is useless, even on the best case scenarios.
And see, I get the same result with OCD because my brain will choose to focus on not the writing that I am trying to do, and it will focus exclusively on not the writing I am trying to do until I stop the writing and do the thing. Yes.
I got both of those things.
Wow, that sounds really difficult.
It just makes me weirder.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I don't know very many people who write creative stuff who don't have something going on in their brain.
I just have
God had to nerf us somehow.
Yeah, I just have chronic anxiety. It's so much fun.
That's amazing. Yeah. We could all probably take the same medication for all three of these things.
Yeah.
Oh god, don't take that out of context. I'm an agnostic.
Yeah, so I mean, how do you find prioritizing? Do you have to legitimately set aside, okay, Tuesday 6 p.m. I'm going to sit down in front of the computer?
I mean, yes, that is what I should do, But usually what I do is I make a schedule, and then I'm like, oh, I wanted to do something else. I'll just add a little wiggle room to the schedule. And pretty soon the wiggle room becomes contagious and fills up the other parts of the pie chart, leaving nothing for me, and I just gotta fuck it, I'll do it last minute, and then it works out perfectly.
And that is how 3 novels have been published.
Oh, you know it. Especially since in the LitRPG industry they expect you to finish all the novels before you submit.
Oh.
I learned that the very difficult way.
Wow.
So wait, so you were expected to have multiple novels ready to submit before you started publishing?
Apparently that's the industry standard. I mean, they were willing to give me a chance on that, so for that I'm very appreciated. They meaning Aethon, by the way, my publisher. But,
Is this because the people who consume LitRPG stuff are so voracious when they've got one they like, they want to be able to sell more on a schedule, or?
pretty much.
That makes sense.
It does.
It's like a whole cottage industry.
But you've done...
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the LitRPG industry currently, and sadly the majority of it is, oh no, a generic white guy protagonist, got stuck in this other world because I was hit by the isekai truck, and now the only way to get out is to bang my way through this elf harem.
That's exactly what you wrote, so I don't know what you're...
It's a bit difficult to compete with that. I mean, nothing against genres and content and stuff, but like, when that's right next to you, it can get a little iffy to be trying to make something new.
I imagine if you could grab most of those together and compile the best bits out of them, none of them would have anything as good as your description of them just now was, because that was absolutely beautiful.
I'm sure, knowing the way the isekai industry is so formulaic, I'm sure someone will make that to the letter of what I just said as a title.
Doubtless. Absolutely.
But I mean, that aside, I will say that you have managed to keep up the pace pretty well, I would say. I mean, hasn't it been about a book a year or even less?
Pretty much. And
that's good.
Now that Neverstone Book 4 is off to the publisher, I don't know what release date is necessarily, but now that's with the publisher. Sorry, tripping over my own fucking words here. I am working on my next project, which is a sort of horror thing called Good Faith, Nebraska, which is...
that's a good title.
Won't go into too much detail, but it's basically the vibe is Bloodborne meets Seinfeld.
What the fuck? Well, that's awesome. But if people don't know, which they probably should, because if they've been listening to the show, Harry and I are big fans of Dave's. Started with, I wasn't as familiar with TotleighSoft earlier on, but it was 3 Moons that just sucked me in. Even before I joined the site, when I was just reading stuff before I had
Lord of Jalakara.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Abso-fucking-lutely. It really appealed to me how it went from this eldritch, adventure story to slapstick, off-putting humor very quickly, and I've always found that to be pretty inspirational. I mean, I don't think
not to go too much on a tangent here, and sorry to interrupt,
No, you're fine.
Corbenic actually started out as a Meowth fanfiction I put on fanfiction.net a long ass time ago that I never finished.
That's amazing.
It was called Meowth Alone, and it was the first appearance of Corbenic before I transferred it over to a different thing.
That is fucking hilarious and amazing. It does definitely feel like it was somebody's very worked out D&D campaign in some ways.
Yeah, you've got especially the Operation Galahad dossier and everything has
You'd be
so
surprised how much of my stuff started out as fan fiction. I mean, in my freaking 001 was originally a Chrono Trigger fanfic.
Oh my god.
Oh
my fucking god. That's amazing.
You ever play Chrono Trigger?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Well, replace Ubu with Lavos and replace Michaud with one of the 3 sages from fucking, Zeal.
That's so funny because you could say that and I could formulaically see it, but I would never have arrived at that in a million years because it's so creative and insane. Because everything you do is so completely bonkers.
I love that though. I mean,
I'm glad you guys see it as something to admire and not a red flag.
No, I do. I mean, honestly,
I honestly think it's a red flag if people don't like your stuff.
Oh,
I'm not even just saying that. That's true.
yeah, I mean,
lower somebody in my literary estimation if they read that and go, "Oh, I didn't really like that."
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that like I tried to like crib the style of it, but reading Three Moons and TotleighSoft stuff made me think that Victim could work, even though it's very different. Like, because it was like I can just do whatever the fuck I want as long as I land like jokes.
I love Victim.
Thank you. It's just
It has a very "don't hug me, I'm scared" vibe.
oh, it intentionally.
That's exactly the right thing to say to him.
Yeah. That's me blushing. Yeah, that's very much intentional. But anyway, okay. So yeah, I mean, I always say I'm gonna schedule timeout, and it doesn't work out that way. If what I have to do to write is just okay, especially because I work at home and I'm on my computer all the time writing emails and reports and other law bullshit. It's very hard to be like, let me pull up Word on my other computer and start typing away. But I just have to like force myself. Otherwise, it won't happen. There is no waiting for the perfect time, I find. At least for me.
I love writing, but
Maybe time is a construct of human perception, an illusion created by... Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Yep.
Harry, what were you saying?
Yep. He's following up the that was the "don't hug me, I'm scared" thing, wasn't it? That's what that was. Yeah.
At this point, it's kind of a Manchurian Candidate kill trigger for me.
I don't know what I was gonna say. My time management is crap. Everybody's like, "How do you write so much? You must be writing constantly." And the answer is no. My typing speed is faster than yours, and I procrastinate constantly.
Yeah.
I'm just really bad at it.
I spent years overestimating my typing speed because I had this stupid DOS typing game at my grade school called Microtype with this weird Uncanny Valley ass cat that was always the mascot and shit. And I thought, oh, I could beat the world record on typing by just smashing the home row a bunch on the first entry skills, and it always says you can do 300 words per minute, and I'd be like, suck it, fucking Guinness Book, just take me to the bank.
I always thought mine was really fast, and then National Write a Novel Month thing happened, and there's a server for it for the SCP people, and I
did that too. I've been doing that for years. I love that shit.
It's great. It actually helped a lot. I got tons and tons of stuff written, but I was
helped with Neverstone.
Really? That makes sense.
Sorry,
no, that's fine.
Conversation back on my own shit. That's how I relate.
We're always here.
I do the same.
So
I do the same.
To interrupt. I'll be interrupting Grigori a lot, but mostly to make him angry.
I don't think I've ever gotten angry at you for interrupting.
Okay,
I only get angry at people who interrupt when it's at my job.
Go fuck yourself.
Tell them what kind of shots their dogs are gonna have, and they're all like, "But how much is that?" When I'm mid sentence, and then they got another question. When I'm like,
"Well, yeah, that's."
You know how many freaking dogs are named Simba? I'm sorry, it's kind of a repressed mechanism at this point.
Dogs named Simba, come on.
Yeah. People are like, I want to get a dog that's like a lion, but I also don't want to own a cat because that would threaten my masculinity. I know.
Oh, people.
That is the saddest train of thought that you can see perfectly with absolute clarity.
But that's exactly what I evaluate somebody like when they go, I don't like cats. Like, unless you're allergic, my thought process is immediately, you must be a douche.
I'm allergic, and it never stopped me from getting 4 because my mom's crazy about him.
Seriously, I'm so glad I'm not allergic. I love cats. I mean, I like dogs too. But
at home, you might hear some of them behind me, particularly Ziltoid the Omniscient.
That is a fucking amazing name. I've always named
This comes from a metal concept album I like.
I've always named cats after people names, and people get weirdly. They get weirded out by it. My first cat's name was Sarah, and people would be like, "Why'd you name him on a girl's name?" And I'm like, "Well, she is a girl. What's the problem?" People get so weird. People are so.
I keep seeing dogs all the time. My job named Kevin.
Kevin.
Shit like that.
Some names they sound funnier that way, and some normal names sound totally normal. Like a dog named John would be fucking weird.
Yeah.
The best example of this that's not even remotely real world because I'm a huge nerd.
It would be even weirder. A dog named Kane Pathos Crow.
That's insane. You can just forget that. That obviously would never work. In World of Warcraft, my friends and I saw somebody walk by with a gigantic purple spider that they'd named Keith.
Oh God!
And that is just stuck in our heads this whole time.
That's pretty good.
That's Pete.
Like that one The Who song, Boris the Spider.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, let's maybe we get back on track now.
So yeah, I think we've said all we can about time management, which is that we're all bad at it.
Yeah.
I
mean, I don't know any creative people that are good at it. Like, forget it. Like, I do deadlines, and that's how I make it happen. Like, I tell myself, okay, this needs to be done by this point, and if I don't do it, like, I feel like shit. So
deadlines help for me too. It's like deadlines and copious amounts of caffeine.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, all right, but we are here not to talk about Three Moons, unfortunately, or our time management skills. We're here to talk about TotleighSoft.
Because computers.
Because computers. So I'm gonna. I think it's really. I really like the hub, but because it doesn't really explain anything, I'm gonna read some stuff from the hub, and then I want you to kind of give us the elevator pitch on the GUI.
You got it.
Unfortunately, because half the joke for TotleighSoft is the bad spelling, some of this doesn't come through audio, but like I love it so much. And anyone that's listening, just pull up the hub and look at these. They've got these testimonials. Well, first of all work and no ploy makes Gok a real good at his job, boy. Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick.
Even if that wasn't misspelled, it would be so fucking funny that Stanley Kubrick was one of the people that was quoted on this.
Yes,
all of you assume Gok's being honest.
That's from the first tab of the hub, which is of course the Tittlepag.
Right. And then mission statement.
Mission statement.
That's right. Computers with exclamation points surrounding it on both sides.
Yeah, I like see usually when I was playing Dark Souls 1, if you got poison, it said exclamation point, exclamation point.
It does look like that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
I can see it.
Oh God, I love Dark Souls. Let's not get on that subject.
Oh God, please
and
don't.
How?
Sometime though, I want to do an episode just on Dark Souls stuff. Anyway, testimonials, but spelled so good. Testimonials.
Spelled so good.
It would be in the best interest of mankind's survival if SCP-2803-A were to continue its current occupation. All unpleasant, it's immeasurably preferable to the alternative. That's all spelled right, but her name?
Yes.
Lizzle. Oh, it's a guy? Oh, it's Lyle.
Yeah, this is Dave's.
It's Lyle.
Oh, right. I thought it
my
was...
great grandpa was named Lyle, so I like that name.
Oh, fair. I thought it was Leslie for a second.
I've redeemed myself for getting the slogan wrong.
Lizzle Naismith SCCP, which I really like the SCCP Foundation. That's right.
Foundation.
I have just received word that I'm just going to keep laughing at these things. I'm really sorry to the listener. It's just going to be
my condolences.
I have just received word that we abolished analog forever. We begin the downloading in 5 minutes. TotleighSoft attached its meaty appendigomes upon the nerves of my scalp, and all the wheedling bagpipes of children's digestive systems ring out their droning refrain through the glade. Lubricate your RAM chips before giving Mr. Gorbachev my regards. Signed, American President Ronald McDonald.
That was from the whole Ronald McDonald cut up while talking thing. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's like one of the big ones that is just totally deserving of all the attention it gets. And if you're wondering, if you are like curious what's going on with this GUI, I actually think, and I think this is true. Yeah. This is true for a lot of GUI hubs, mine as well. Victim is like this too. You know, look at the writing for, or look at the contributing tab, and there you'll get the author or, you know, a combination of authors explaining what's going on to some extent. And this one's no extent. This one's talking about P. Hudson Gok, which we'll talk about pretty soon.
He's not good in any sense of the word, but he has no ulterior motives for running this anomalous software corporation. So despite all the fucked up things that are going to happen, he's not trying to like rule the world or anything. I love it. His moral philosophy...
Trying to capitalism.
That's right. His philosophy is a combination of three things: a hasty backjacket description of the American dream, an unknowable eldritch alien apex predator's idea of fair competition, extreme naivety, I don't think I'm saying that right.
Naivete, you fool.
Naivete, and dumbassery.
Naivete is showing.
Yeah. In his own ham-fisted way, he genuinely wants to use anomalous consumer electronics to help Americans help themselves.
It works so well every time.
Oh yeah, there's no problems whatsoever. So yeah, why don't you kind of, we've got a few anomalous corporations on the wiki. Give us your elevator pitch for this one. What's your thoughts behind it?
Well, for starters, to really understand TotleighSoft, you gotta understand the two things that were its major inspirations. The first, and this might sound a little weird, but it's me, so the first is going to be there was this segment on Animaniacs that had its own episodes and whatnot. They had all these sub-segments. One of them was one of the less good ones called Chicken Boo, where it was this giant chicken who was trying to go around posing as human jobs. Sorry for my crumbling of my words every now and then.
I do it too.
And every whole episode of the episode was, he's a giant chicken. No, he's not. He's a human. Yeah, look, he's a chicken. You're a chicken. We hate that for some reason. Go away. And that was the joke. And it was just like this weird ass chicken trying to blend in with human society however he can. And the second thing, which is the bigger inspiration, strong bad emails.
Oh,
just
good.
the whole aesthetic of those things.
Okay.
Old, outdated electronics in the hands of people who really should not use them.
I'm not really
Star
familiar.
Runner. It's Strong Bad is the antagonist who became essentially the protagonist of foundational internet humor website homestarrunner.com.
I know I said I'm an agnostic, but I pray to Strong Bad every night.
Absolutely.
Who knows this shit?
It's humor it just becomes more in tune with internet style humor as time goes on, because it was
very formative for me.
This time. It's amazing. It is for me as well. I absolutely love all the Homestar Runner stuff, and Strong Bad is a ridiculous, absurd guy whose head is a wrestler's mask, and he talks in a ridiculous voice, and he stars in a whole bunch of cartoons with his friends, but he also has an email segment where people write in real emails, and then they do absurd short little animations responding to them, and the humor is completely off the wall.
He's always answering these emails on these really outdated computers that are always DOS kind of shit and Commodore 64 kind of shit, and just the whole beige stuff that's outdated and clearly broken aspect. Just that aesthetic. I wanted to capture that with TotleighSoft. But anyway, I guess I'm totally avoiding the question you guys were giving me.
Well, let me interrupt you, because I just want to say that having heard you say that now, I can totally see that, because the one line that comes up to my head from Strong Bad emails is "fangoriously devoured by a gelatinous slug beast," and that's so Daveyoufool core right there. It totally sounds like something that would inspire.
Oh gosh, you're right though. And so the basic idea of TotleighSoft is, what if some horrible eldritch creature from the Crab Nebula came to Earth not with the desire to devour everything, but by the fact that he was so enchanted by humans and consumer culture that he wanted to start his own business.
Anybody's listening that's even somewhat aware of Victim.
Amazing things.
If anyone's even somewhat aware of Victim, you can completely see why some of these things and Three Moons were inspirational.
Yeah, just the whole sort of thing with TotleighSoft is, when I came to America, I had only a suitcase full of venomous bullshit in my bag, and I just started from nothing with the ground up, and also lobotomizing people and making them brains contribute to my hive mind and shit. But that's just business tactics.
Yeah, when I touched down in America, I had nothing but the
tentacles on my back,
membrane on my back, and of course I touched down in an automotive factory and killed half of them and turned the rest into slaves. But
I love the bit where we'll get there, but
Ibarra considers them as unpaid interns.
So he's just a good corporate boss. It's just
Yeah.
Just sounds like
Pretty much.
That's just
He's
21st
American.
century capitalism right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, the hub is amazing. The hub actually does a really good job of describing the articles in the sense that it doesn't, but it has like Gawk-style comments on them. Like it was a couple of weeks ago that I noticed the comment on mine, which we've already talked about on the podcast, American, and the comment you put is a quote attributed to Eagle, and the quote is "Ska." That's the whole fucking
You would
thing.
not believe. First time I found this, my partner thought I wrote it because, the Swedish chef was involved. And he is basically my patron saint.
Oh, 100%.
I didn't know that. I'm glad that worked out. I saw that comment. Actually, your partner left that comment, and I forgot to respond to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was just sheer love of TotleighSoft that inspired that whole thing.
The impact
Of
on my
course.
sense of humor that certain Muppets have had is like you cannot underestimate it. Like the
Well,
Swedish Chef,
amazing.
Animal, what's the big giant guy that's like really monstrous but is kind of a nice Sweetums, yes.
There's a couple, though.
Fucking
there's also
Beaker.
Dog.
I
I was
love
a dog, but
There's the mutations.
I like Beaker a lot too.
Don't fuck with the guy who has done his Muppet research.
I love the Muppets. Anyway,
we're gonna get back to 3 moons at this rate.
I know that's true.
Oh, geez.
That's true, right? Yeah. So I mean, I think this one's really like very easy to dip into, as opposed to some of the other GOIs that we've covered. Like, you could just start with honestly any of these. I mean, it doesn't matter like what order, or really, you just really have to understand the concept of this is a software corporation being run by an anomalous eldritch entity that has a very poor understanding of human behavior.
And if you look up the
He's
TotleighSoft
trying
hub or
his
the
best.
tag, you could read them all in a day easily. 'Cause,
Yeah.
It's compact, and there's nothing bad, absolutely nothing bad under that banner.
No, yeah, everything we read for today was amazing. I can't believe I hadn't read that one that we're going to cover later on, the one about Seinfeld. Holy shit! I was
God.
I'm laughing out loud so many times, and then how dark it gets. Oh, perfect.
I hadn't read the first one before, not the Gawk one, but the first one we're talking
Fantasy's
about.
Big Chance.
Fantasy's Big Chance, which is so funny, and then the payoff later at the end of the episode, as it were, is so good.
Oh, jeez. Yes, my horny dragon sting.
Ah. Oh. Anyway.
Yeah, but that's a good segue. Why don't we start talking about that one? So the one we were just talking about, which is titled Massey's Big Chance, spelled like chant, is SCP-2527 by Daveyoufool. Gonna give a little bit of a summary here. So SCP-2527-1 is a 2-meter high stone statue of Lamassu, which at the foot. This is my first question of you. Is this an Assyrian mythological deity with the head of a bearded human, the body of a lion, and the wings? But
Yeah, I think it's a local entity or local deity. Basically, it's not like it's just one guy called Lamassu. It's just a Lamassu, a griffin
yeah,
or something
okay, that's
like
fair.
that.
Yep.
Not to be too nitpicky, of course.
No, it's fine because I'm gonna
Just to
ask
twist
you.
it to something Grigori can understand. Back when Warhammer had Chaos Dwarves, their large mounted monster was a Lemus.
I'm partial to the orcs myself.
I don't.
That makes perfect sense.
I don't understand anything about Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah, that's true.
Understand.
Someday they'll put the Chaos Dwarves in space, and you'll understand it.
Hopefully,
Ooh.
squats are back. Anyway,
Sounds like a new exercise routine. Anyway,
or like a bad name for diarrhea. Okay, you got
okay,
the.
now I have
I
to
got,
interrupt.
I got the chaos
again.
drops.
This isn't even vaguely relevant, but it's funny enough that I have to say it out loud. It's very short, shorter even than this preface. I was talking on Discord with some friends, and one of my friends was playing a game or something, and I didn't know that. And I asked him, "So what are you up to?" And I thought he said, "Fighting a beef octopus." And I said, is that like some slang I don't know for having a really horrible dump? And that's my scatological humor for the entire podcast.
Oh, great. Now I
Fighting a
have to
beef,
put
that's stuck in my head for
octopus
years.
is a monster in one of my books.
Fighting a beef octopus. Fighting a beef octopus. This
What
has
was
gotten
What was he playing?
real blue real fast. He was fighting a reef octopus, which is just some random monster in World of Warcraft.
Oh,
Oh, so R was that B.
Yes, but my version was much funnier than what he was doing.
Yeah, definitely. But I wanted to ask, in that footnote, the Assyrian mythological deity, we got 3 hot links to 3740, 2404, and 3615. One for each of those words. What's going on?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I put those hot links there.
Oh, really?
God, please don't let it be the WikiWalk team who did it.
No.
Oh, it might have been.
Oh, it's just
somebody
like
else added them.
Related.
Oh,
I
well,
don't think I've even seen these skips.
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I'm just quickly scanning. The odds of you having done these links are low.
Did Dr. Bleep do it?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Might have been a WikiWalk thing.
Anyway, all right. Well, then forget about
so
it.
the
Doesn't
links
matter.
we're talking about might not be there tomorrow, so anyway, carrying on.
Yeah. So that's the one thing is we got the 2-meter high stone statue of Alamasu. And then the other thing is a Commodore 64 text adventure game entitled Massey's Big Chance, used as a means to control the actions of the statue, which they can do. They can movement by means of instantaneous materialization into the center of a 3 meter by 3 meter space, directly before, behind, or to the left or right. Incinerating organic material, destruction of walls or other obstructions by means of a shockwave, spontaneous generation of flowers and other plant life, which is just nice. Spontaneous and then spontaneous impregnation of any available uterus within its square influence with a smaller Lamasu statue. Which, that sounds painful.
That sounds more than a little painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this was actually inspired by Final Fantasy Tactics. I was playing a lot of that time. The original one for PlayStation, not that advanced bullshit.
Right, because the advanced one, they took out the uterus Lamasus.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I feel like that is absolutely something that would happen in the first one, and just considering how dark it gets.
It does get pretty dark. I like how often you can snip a piece of dialogue from that game and just apply it to modern politics, and it just fits.
Oh God.
Anyway,
that's pretty derivative of Berserk, but that's neither here nor there.
I guess it is. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, Berserk is another thing I know way too much about. Box art of the game included in the description. Congratulaton! You are Massey and become a god. Now go forth and establish your dominion.
The demonium.
Demonium. And then we have the
test
payoff, which is the
written
test
in the
log.
style of a late 1980s text adventure, which appeals to me directly and precisely. This is like Zork. That's basically what this is.
Yeah, I never played that.
Yeah, I remember playing some of those games as a kid. It was pretty fun.
I kind of imagine that the game that they never quite get to play in Last Ride of the Day probably was a text adventure, judging by the age of the Prometheus Labs systems.
Well, wasn't this exactly this game?
Right. There was a point in my life where I was trying to learn Inform because I thought that was pretty cool. Turns out no one actually thought it was cool, but I just really got into the programming language. It's one of the things that makes text adventure games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool. I mean, they're lame as hell.
Oh no,
cool.
it wasn't. It wasn't.
Were you going to ask, Grigori? It sounded like.
Oh, I was wondering if that was actually the game in the time machine, but no, that's Hunt for Mr. Twinkie.
Hunt for Mr. Twinkie, yes.
Oh yeah.
I just want to say
we can't talk about that one.
No, but just for a second,
one of the greatest brick jokes of all time.
Okay, you want to finish this? I want to just touch on Daveyoufool's proposal for a second.
Yeah, we can.
No,
this
finish.
This is going to be completely unformatted as a talk.
Who cares?
It's chaos. We're doing chaos squats today.
So
just break format. We can come back to it.
We talked about this one on our last episode when we were doing 001s because we didn't do it when we were doing Prometheus Labs because it just was kind of too long. But I mean, there's a lot of parts of this 001 that I love, But the thing that still makes me laugh so hard, and I brought it up in the episode, was the fact that the time machine has an AM/FM radio, but the time machine goes back to like negative 15,000 years. So 99
all the cool Sumerian channels.
99.9% of the time that time machine would even be in existence, that would not work because there's no radio signals.
I was figuring that at Prometheus Labs would have had lots of backway models ready, and they were going to, hypothetically, in one of these events, have these guys communicate with one another.
Oh, right. That's funny. It just, the idea of it, like, it's just one of these offhand things in one of your, like, stories that makes me laugh, like, endlessly. Like, it's just the idea that there's a radio in this thing that will go back in time so far back that it's in the Stone Age is fucking hilarious. Anyway,
the entire proposal is hilarious, which is amazing. Because
absolutely.
Of course, it's so long. It feels like the length of half of my articles, which are all really, really long. But it never feels long. It just feels like just joy, because every couple paragraphs there's either something very funny or something that's so horrible it's also funny.
Me choose.
Yes.
I just like when the thing is calling the researcher's name. Me choose. I mean, I like all of it, but that part really stuck out to me.
There's this whole voice I have always had canon for Ubu, just sort of like,
amazing. That's perfect.
Anyway, all right. So
that one, no, you diverted us, and I'm staying here for a moment. Like that one, Last Ride of the Day, completely fits that mold where some people say it's the 001 is the culmination of everything.
Oh yeah,
and like fucking nobody does that. Like most people just come up with a crazy idea and they go, "This is my 001." Mm-hmm. But some people have this in their head that it's going to be the culmination of everything somebody's done, and very, very few of them are. And that one totally is. It covers all of this stuff that you've done with the Corvinic stuff and the just absolute craziness. And there's a Gawk cameo in there, and it is all so like it's.
There were a few
Daveyoufool 001
too,
right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Then the one we're going to talk about later could have been another 001. Like that one felt like the absolute culmination of everything you did, and then you just kept bidding, and it was still good, which is like amazing.
Yeah,
so
I just felt like if I made it in 001, it would have been seen as too soon after my last one, and I didn't want to ruffle any feathers with that.
I get that. But like the fact that you had another absolutely enormous, crazy, epic thing in your mind, and presumably you have many, since that one felt like you could have published it as a book.
I mean, not really. It was just like 20,000 words last time I counted.
Yeah, it's more.
Usually, if people want a fantasy novel, they want something in the higher end of the word count.
Yeah, but in terms of the amount of effort and world building and craziness that went into it, it's got a novel's worth of content in less than a novel size, a novella size, which is so cool. But we'll get to flattering you about that when we get to that one. Get back to flattering you on the ones we're actually looking at.
I will say that when we talked about your proposal, I compared it to like The Gunslinger in the way that like Stephen King had written all these other books, but then everything ties together in the Gunslinger books.
Right.
Thank
you. I mean, and it's better written.
It is legitimately one of my favorite articles on the website, because I mentioned this in the episode, but like a lot of your stuff has this thing going on where it gets so crazy, but it also gets so many horrible things going on that it gets this weird, it's too hot and I'm really tired and I'm having some sort of a fever dream. It's like the morals are kind of breaking down and the sensibilities are breaking down.
Well, I will say that I've always picked sorry if I'm like stammering over my words. Don't
worry about
it. Basically, I got this thing where when I was making Michaud, or at least how he appears in the later offsets, where he's gone full AM and shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was honestly taking direct inspiration from Astrid Koste, who is probably my favorite villain I've ever written. That's from the Neverstone thing.
Oh, and Astrid's amazing. I love Astrid. She's so creepy. Like, almost every time she shows up, I start to laugh at something she says, and then you immediately creep me the fuck out. She's so fucking good.
you're so good at that tonal juxtaposition, and it makes it feel so weirdly dreamlike and trance-like, where you're just following it along, and you're like, I feel like I wouldn't be safe in public after reading one of these really long ones, because I feel like I might need to recalibrate my sense of how to interact with human beings, and that is a
For those of you who don't know who that is, Astrid Kashe is basically just Veruca Salt plus Skynet.
Yeah, that's holy shit. That's the best fucking summary of it.
The things you think of to combine.
Amazing. But yeah, I mean, not to like.
I
promise I'm not going to talk about my shit that much, but like the way that you balance those tones was like super inspirational. Because I've never felt. Well, I know. I'm just. It's my own anal retentive. Don't worry about it. But like my thing about comedy was, I always kind of felt like I couldn't do it, because I always looked at comedy like, witty, sitcom-y type stuff, stuff that Harry, you do so well, where you get these characters bouncing stuff off of each other, and sometimes I can kind of come close to that. But the thing that I feel like I am very comfortable thinking about is very uncomfortable, weird laughs, where like.
Yes.
The other like where I love, like people, I don't know how many times have talked to me about victim stuff and been like, well, like this was funny until this, and then it was weird and creepy, and I'm like, thank you. that's
I like to think that those aren't mutually exclusive.
No, God no. I mean, because the funniest people are also like some of the best like horror actors. I mean, just deal with it. It's just they're two sides of the same coin.
Like you get people who say like they don't like the comedic stuff in SCP, and I hear that a lot from people who otherwise seem to get what's good, and they're like, well, it messes with the horror when some of this stuff is also funny, and all I can think is, it's not fucking horror, it's weird fiction. The fact that some of the scary stuff is also funny makes it scarier and weirder, like, because if it was all serious, it would be less weird.
Yeah.
Some of it has to be absurd. And some
like
of it has to be obscene.
You gotta put the goalposts of like where the good shit is and where the bad shit is. And if the world is exclusively bad shit, then there's nothing worth fighting for.
Right. Well, that's true. But like with horror, especially, I feel like there's a lot of people in that sort of subgenre of fandom that kind of take that same perspective, and they just kind of want like, Jason over and over again, as if Jason and Freddy aren't hilarious, because they all are. But like my favorite things, I have these horror projects that I love, whether they're books or movies that are like super serious and creepy and weird, but then also I can never let go of the fact that Evil Dead is one of my favorite things in the world. Like, and if you don't know what Evil Dead is, go find out, because you should be aware of that
movie.
All right, so we can actually move on. Can I just read a section of the log from 2527?
Yeah.
Okay. I like text adventures. So the way it works is it tells you what you can see, but it's telling you what the actual ridiculous Lamasi monster is seeing. And of course, it's written in not quite TotleighSoft speak, because this is an early one and it's not quite as bad, but it's still pretty bad. So the testing log is they're inputting commands into the C64 program, and the Lamasi is doing it. Go north. Massey, go north. Weight of Massey, crush D5992. D3515, exclaim loudly. Punish D3515 as possible. Burn D3515. Skin burns. Screams are loud. Long live Massey. D3515 rolls on floor. Burn D3515. Fire intense. Burning is multiple. D3515 screams profuse. Just the absolute mastery of how broken the English is beautiful.
I really like how much chaos we get into by the end, and then it ends on this very like simplistic, like almost sad, like the program's sad that you're leaving, because quit, are you sure? Yes, thank you. Progress save.
Yeah, well, I feel like when I was playing computer games as a kid, they always had an "Are you sure you want to quit?" Especially for kids games.
Yes. Yeah, all of the games did that. and now they just crash when you try to quit them. The amazing thing for me on this one is I like to feel like an early article in a series is probably taking place way earlier than the later articles, and they're still mindlessly fucking around with this SCP for no apparent reason in the last article we're looking at.
Yeah.
They're testing it while it goes haywire.
Well, let's just say they might have been trying to find a way to weaponize it.
Yeah, not surprising.
Not at all. But yeah,
All
okay.
right. That's one article. We got a record going here.
Why? What? Where are we at here? We're 45 minutes. All right.
Go team.
All right. So yeah, SCP-2219, 2219, Porridge by Daveyoufool is the next one we're going to talk about.
It's dear to my heart because I had a Game Boy.
Yeah, me too.
I played the ding from it on this podcast at some point during the Arcadia episode.
Oh, that's true. Anyway, I love the image from it. So I, no one understands why I just repeated that, but just because it just reminds me so much of that time of I was so excited to get a new Game Boy game, almost more than a new Super Nintendo game, because I could take that shit on the drive, any 2-hour drive my mom was dragging me on. Well, it's okay. I got the Game Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yep. No, I had exactly the same thing. I had my
Link's Awakening did things to me emotionally.
Oh, Link's Awakening is beautiful. It's one of the earliest Zelda games that has actually touching plot.
And one of the only ones, period, to be honest, that has a touching plot.
The last article we're discussing on this list was actually directly inspired by it.
Oh,
nice.
That makes a lot of sense.
Nice. Yeah, well, no, I actually noticed that. I specifically did notice that, the Windfish parallel.
Yeah.
Cool.
But, so this one is...
I want credit for noticing things. Yeah, carry on.
Unlicensed Game Boy game titled Porridge, created by TotleighSoft. Porridge.
That's what the kids want.
Yeah, where the main character Goldlocks must progress through levels and defeat bear-themed enemies. You should be aware this is obviously about Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Apparently designed as a platforming style adventure revolving around the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Oh, the way that you ended that made it sound like you were going to keep going.
It's because there's a comma. I can't just pretend like there's a period. That would be breaking the rules.
Oh, yeah. I should probably fix that at some point.
No, it's correct. It's not wrong.
I just want to read some of the anomalous effects. So there's a table in here that shows an in-game situation and the effect it has on the player in real world. So Goldilocks collects 100 porridge. It's just 100 porridge.
100 porridge. No.
Player experiences a sense of induced relaxation and contentment consistent with light sedatives. That sounds nice.
I could use that.
Goldilocks,
you want to have happen in a testing
yeah,
for sure.
Although definitely not this next one. Goldilocks collects 500 porridge, instantaneous orgasm.
Yeah, that not so much for the testing
I
chamber.
don't want that. Goldilocks fails to collect at least 25 porridge by the end of a level. Light seizure? Just a light seizure? Goldilocks loses a life. Throat severely inflamed for 5 minutes, breathing made difficult.
And then...
Goldilocks loses all lives, game over. Player contracts leprosy? Goldilocks loses a life to level 5 boss, Papa. Instantaneous rapid tooth rot.
Nice.
Goldilocks loses a life to level 7 boss, Mamama. Permanent blindness. Which would make playing the game a little hard. Goldilocks loses a life to the final boss, Dagron. Cardiac arrest. Final boss defeated. Unknown. Because the outcome had yet to be achieved. Meaning there's a lot of dead D-class.
Yeah.
So good.
This kind of makes
basically
sense.
what I was thinking when I was writing this, the whole Five Nights at Freddy's thing with this rapid onset of jump scare games that came out not too recently, but fairly recently.
Mm-hmm.
I was just starting to think, well, if they want to actually advance this idea further, they could just straight up have a taser attached to the computer that fucks with you whenever you lose.
Oh, that'd be great for streamers, wouldn't it? They could do the Twitch integration where the Twitch stream can also tase you at random. And
that sounds like
something. Oh, that make a Twitch.
Sounds like something Kojima would try to do in one of his games.
It does. One of the things I love about this one is It's just a thing I notice about a lot of your articles. Dr. Isaiah Henderson appears to be the doctor in charge on this one, and I notice Henderson tends to get the more morally questionable ones that they're testing.
Yeah.
He's the one at the beginning of the Operation Galahad stuff, isn't he, as well?
Oh, yeah. And then there was a thing where he got a Fafnir class info hazard and died.
Right.
Well, that's why you see Lyle Naismith more recently.
Right, and Namek tends to be involved in less shady shit
More absurd.
than this earlier boss.
Yeah.
This interview, because this is a fairly short article, but this interview at the end is just like fucking hilarious. Because it's an interview with somebody who's suffering from leprosy, having clearly played the game and experienced one of the anomalous effects. Dr. Horge, Dr. Henderson.
Dr. Horace,
Do you feel a psychological compulsion to play the game? Do I look mental or something? If you knew what was coming after the final boss, you'd want to play it too. It's not even supposed to be a game. It's the way to weed out the unworthy. I saw that one guy that beat the game. Just to look at him, the light coming out of his eyes, it was... Nagel hesitates. Go on. Yeah, nice try. You white-collar shit stains would keep it all for yourselves.
Obviously, there's some great prizes to be found.
Of course.
You beat Porridge for the Game Boy.
Yeah, I still haven't decided what that is, so I left it ambiguous.
That's better. It's always better with something like that. But I did want to point out
All I can think when I look at the box is, a grandmother would definitely buy this for the kid for Christmas. Porridge!
It'd probably come in like a package with the Daikatana Game Boy game.
Mm.
Oh, God.
Was there a Daikatana Game Boy game?
Apparently, and from what I hear,
God.
it was actually better than the N64
Well, that's
one.
not hard.
That is not hard
That's
at
a
all.
shit game.
It's fair.
This is how I got the Friday the 13th Nintendo cartridge, because my mom was not aware of that movie. And she was like, it looks fun, and there's like this guy on the back, this purple guy. I'm not kidding. That's how I got introduced to Friday the 13th.
One time, my mom's friend, who has this like a 4-year-old grandson, well, he was 4 years old a long time ago. Oh, my mom's friend was like, oh yeah, he's got this really cute Bible game he's been playing. It's called The Binding of Isaac.
A very cute Bible game. That's a good way to put it. Totally accurate. No problem.
Oh god, it's the most accurate Bible game I've ever seen.
That's
Anyway,
fair.
A lot better than you're used to, yeah.
Yeah. I do want to point out that this first one that we read, which was the first one, right? The first one you ever wrote?
Yeah.
Okay, so that one was December of 2015. This one is February 17th of 2016. And then the next one we're going to read is February 18th of 2016.
Had a couple ideas, huh?
Yeah, I just figured if I made 2 of them, I'd want to make the source close to that.
Fair
Right.
enough. But that's pretty great. I mean, that's like a rapid expansion right there.
Yep. This is how you build a name.
That's right. But yeah, let's go ahead and just...
You know how
switch-
famous you are? The first couple of weeks when I was writing some stuff, somebody was sent to talk to me about creating their draft or something, and they were like super excited to meet me, and they're like so happy in the PM, and they're like, I'm just so happy to finally talk to the person who created Corbinic, because my name's Harry, and they just got generic white guy name in their head and went, oh, he must be the Corbinic guy.
Oh, jeez.
Just like, that's somebody else.
I hope you tell them to get Neverstone, because God knows I need the publicity.
This was 2 years ago, so no, I'll see if I can find them in the DM, and I'll tell them now.
We
No
have...
That
pressure
time that you
on that.
called me Daveyoufool, well, you have to go buy his book now.
Oh my god. Can you guys hear me?
And you know what? Nobody's ever actually
Oh, shit.
given me that nice kind
God
of
damn it.
PM because they thought I was me. Just only you.
Oh, jeez. Someday, my dude.
It's
Someday.
how special you are.
Can you guys hear
No,
me?
it's- Okie
Yeah, I can
dokie.
hear you.
Okay,
I heard
good.
you.
Okay, good. Because it kind of froze there for a second. Hopefully that doesn't
Oh.
fuck up the recording. It's fine. It was just 30 seconds.
Exciting. If we're talking out of order now, congratulations, everybody. This is now the April Fool's Day episode for next year.
Happy Arbor Day.
Oh, those trees. But yeah, let's talk about SCP-2803, which is I forgot to write down the
Mr.
title.
Doc himself.
Yeah, but it's Mr. Gok. It's Mr. P. Hudson Gok himself. So this is the one we were referencing earlier because it's an office building outside Rapid City, South Dakota, serving as the corporation's TotleighSoft's HQ. It was a car factory, but now it's infested with a tumorous growth of flesh in the center of the building, weighing about 197 tons.
Nice.
Sapient and communicates through electronics in broken dialect of English. Answers to the name P. Hudson Gok.
I love Gawk as a name.
It's very funny. I just like the whole thing. P. Hudson Gok is just such a
Yep.
fucking robber baron name. It's hilarious. Emits constant stream of lambda waves, which is used to gain subliminal control of nearby computers to create new products. And there's also 250 people within the building, essentially under the control of the entity that it's using as a meditative amplification of the lambda waves. And they have and the Federation has no idea how, if they were to try and reverse it, how they could do that. And I like so much that Gok sent a warning with a fax machine message, a fax of a notice of merger, which is
Well,
the
to him,
annex.
it wasn't a warning. It was good news.
Right.
Yes. 'Cause he was about to merge with the building.
Happy to report, your company has been annexed by Totley Software Corporation. Will be coming at 1 p.m. for preliminary restructured meeting. Expect new CEO, Mouself, new conditions, and hands-on engagement. Spelled like mint. Your compliance is not voluntary. Sorry. We're not giving you any choices here.
You gotta finish it. It ends beautifully.
Complaints may be submit at appropriate time. Good that you are all understand and agree. Regards, B. Hudson Gok, CEO of Totley Software. Yes.
I love the yes.
The yes is so good. Yeah, your compliance is not voluntary.
I'm glad
It's
you got
just
to read
fucking
that.
incredible.
Because there's a part later I expect to be able to read because I love it.
Okay.
Honestly, the spiritual progenitor, as it were, of P. Hudson Gok was... Do you ever see Half-Life, Full-Life Consequences on YouTube?
Yes.
No.
It's
Well,
it's
there
a
you go.
really early machinima of Half-Life that's done in like really, really bad fanfic style. And oh my god, of course! I can like
Yeah,
see
wait,
every influence as soon as you point them out because the grammar is all broken as hell. Oh, this is like the behind the scenes episode yet.
This is
out of
good.
30.
Jeez. Well, you know, a lot of stuff inspires my work, and I like to make that out in the open once it's more established.
You really transmute it well.
I like discussing inspirations. I mean, just as a general aside, I think it's really useful. I mean, we talked about it very early on in one of our Creative Corner segments. Bad host. That like
How dare!
inspiration and like being an original like voice is like not as important as like we like to think it is. Like it's okay to just own and discuss and be comfortable discussing, here's the thing that really inspired this, because I think that actually adds to it, especially if you've, like you said, transmuted it into something else that's your own thing. The amount of people that I've told, like, my first article was clearly inspired by Bloodborne, even though it's not set in the 1800s. It's not about, like, axing down monsters or anything. And then they're like, oh my god, now I see it. Like, those conversations are, like, really useful, I think.
What was your first article, by the way?
Wow. 4612.
46, yeah, 1, 2, that's it. They're all 12s.
Yeah, I know. The first few were 12s. The first 3 were 12s, and then I was like, the first 4, and I have to stop.
Not all gods decompose, it's called.
Not all gods decompose, yeah. One of my more
And for a
successful-
while, it started with the words special quarantainment. Nobody knows it.
for like a year and a half. Yeah, good.
Well, the
good
best
times.
special containment procedures are where you put them in a maze.
Oh,
Nice.
God,
Nice.
did
Very
you
nice.
I can't believe. Okay.
The best
making
part
us all-
is that you're equally as funny in discussion.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
really
thank God.
good.
Thanks, it's all the trauma.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah, trauma is really good for being funny, or making you shiver in the corner, or both.
Okay, you know what, though? I want to read part of this transcript with Dr. Nate
Mhm.
and Gawk. So Gawk sits down in this facility, starts making and shipping out anomalous video games to the Foundation. Negotiates with it because it's an eldritch entity from beyond that is extremely powerful, but has luckily decided to only be largely destructive instead of completely destructive. So Dr. Namath talks to it, and rather than read the dialogue tags out loud, I'm just going to pause a little longer between them so you can tell that they're
He's
different
not
characters.
destructive. He's a job creator.
He's an American more than anything.
Job
So it's
creator.
Dr. Namath is the first, and then it goes back and forth with Gawk. You came from space? True. Start fro nothings. Now look, in free market with humans, as if I am humans myself, have business and profits much. TotleiSoft is a winner. What made you want to start a software company? Old job was get old. Could do anything, anytime. Instant gratification. Thrill is in journey, said I. I am missing it now, though. And your old job was? Data expunged. And what exactly were you obliterating? Data expunged. Noted. Should go back to old job, you thinks? No. I would honestly suggest you should stick with running a software corporation. That is the American way. You came to do the right thing. I'm 100% certain you should keep selling your software and making money. Your old job was not at all interesting or profitable. Keep doing this. Because I'm start to miss it. Being humans is difficult. Cannot even data expunged, you know? Please, I'm begging you, keep being a software tycoon. So clearly it's just described what it can do and has done in the past, and Naismith is clearly sitting bolt upright in his seat like, okay, this is going badly really fast. No, keep doing this.
I love that it is so clearly like not even an eldritch horror, but like somebody that's probably responsible for the death of billions, or
Yes,
like the
they're just
destructions
like,
of star systems, or whatever. It's just like, oh my god.
Like, this clearly his day just... Dr. Naismith's day just totally took a fucking turn, and he's like, I don't know if I'm qualified to talk you down from what I'm just realizing you can do.
I just love the idea that the best way to contain it is to keep letting it sell.
Yes,
What can I say?
Software.
He wants to be where the people are.
that's right.
He wants to be part of your world.
Being humans is difficult.
Sure is.
It sure is, buddy.
He's so relatable, isn't he?
Where did the name P. Hudson Gawk come from? Like, what? That's amazing.
I was trying to think of something that sounded like, okay, there was this meme I saw a long ass time ago. It's this Japanese game, and it's making a fictional American names for its baseball roster, and it's trying to make names that sound American, but like are, like it's just weird names like Vanley Startinez or some shit. And
Right.
I was just trying to make something along that lines that sounds like it would be an American name, but it
It
just
also
very
sounds like it is. Yeah.
like an alien's idea of what an American name sounds like. Initial name of a river in New York, and then Gawk. Or just, I like the headcanon that's at least part of what his original name was, but it's just a fragment of it and given the CK so it sounds more English.
Right.
It's good. But I think we should switch to one of my favorite articles.
I've read this article more than most articles I've read.
Dogga movie.
Dogga movie.
Dogga movie is... I've already complained like how much I love this article on the podcast, and I don't know how many episodes. This is one of my favorite articles. It's so
Yeah, I think
funny,
we
and
mentioned it.
goes so off the rails. It's amazing.
I think we mentioned it
Yeah,
briefly.
the name of the article was like A Dog's Purpose, and it was directly inspired by that movie because I am so tired of these movies where it's all like,
yeah.
I'm getting a dog. The dog is naughty. Oh, the naughtiness is endearing me gradually. The dog is dead now from some horrible traumatic thing. I am a better person as a result.
Turner and Hooch and Marley and Me, and it's been going on for
Good
decades.
fucking
I
Lord.
mean, God, Hollywood is only capable of making the same like 3-4
Yep.
movies anyway.
It becomes to the point where you're making a sacrificial dog for Oscar money.
I don't think any of those movies won Oscars.
They want to.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a VHS, which is different every time you watch it, titled Dog Movie, which is starring Charles Grodin, Andy McDowell, and Alan Rickman, none of which remembered filming the movie.
Something I didn't notice until this time that I reread it is there's a lovely image of the VHS case. Alan Rickman on the VHS case is credited as Al and Rickman. With an ampersand. Al and Rickman.
I will tell you, not to get on too much of a tangent here, but Charles Grodin actually plays an important part in Neverstone Book 4.
Oh my god. So amazing.
You're really into Charles Grodin. I noticed there's even a character named...
It's
named
the hyperfixation, let's be honest. It's, there's this, really shitty Martin Short Charles Grodin movie called Clifford. It turns out to be of existential importance to the multiverse. I won't spoil it.
Oh god, I know that movie. Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, so every time the VHS is different, it's a different film, but there are shared factors. And I'm just going to read these because they get steadily more kind of, I mean, they're not actually that ridiculous, but how they play out. And then what I thought we could do is we could each pick one of the experiment logs, but not giving away the ending.
So you're going to read the throughout each film thing to explain what the format is then.
Right,
And we're going
right.
to pick one. Yeah, you do that.
Yeah. So each iteration is direct sequel to the previous iteration, which I didn't catch that note until this time, and that is so much funnier. That
How many dogs can one man
right?
have?
Yes. The idea that Grodin just continues to have this situation over and over again. The dialogue is filled with broken English, typical of TotleighSoft, but all other professional aspects are of the typical quality for a major family film in 1989. Grodin praised the protagonist, a suburban businessman in his late 30s.
Named Ryan
Frompt. Andy McDowell plays his wife, Marianne Frompt. The Frompts have children, though the number, names, and identities of the children have little to no narrative consistency from iteration to iteration, which is hilarious because they're sequels. The antagonist of the film is played by Alan Rickman, albeit with an entirely different character each time.
He's got so much range.
That's true. Ryan struggles with a flaw in his character, stated outright in the first 5 minutes of the movie by Marianne, immediately preceded by the phrase, So I sang now outright to your face, you husband.
You husband.
To remedy this flaw, Marianne adopts one or more dogs, despite Ryan's objections. The relationship between Ryan, the dogs, and his family leads to a deeper bond between all parties involved, puts a strain on Ryan's relationship with Alan Rickman's character, and causes Ryan to reevaluate his life and the aforementioned flaw. Next bullet point. The dog dies in a tragic incident. This causes Ryan to have an epiphany. He cuts off ties with the antagonist. The Fromps plants a tree in their backyard over where the dog was buried. There must be a lot of trees in that backyard. It's an orchard. Ryan closes the film with a voiceover ending with the phrase, I am become greater guy than was. And yeah, I just thought we could each pick one of these ones to talk about. Because there's about, there's 7?
Yeah, so we'll just proceed down the list in a sense. You pick one, and then I'll pick one that's lower than yours, and Dave can...
I just spoke, so you pick one.
Oh, okay. Dave, is there one here you particularly want?
I will say, Farm of Dogums, the 4th one.
You want to read that one?
Yes.
Okay. Then I will start... Which one do you want to read, Grigori? And I'll start before that.
I will read Paging Dr. Dogum. You don't have to read one before that. Why?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll read the one that's next. I'll read 17 Sply.
Okay. So we'll read the 3, 4, and 5 then, I guess.
Okay.
That works well. So this one is... We'll skip the part where we have to see the number. But this is Dogum Uvi 5, Paging Dr. Dogum. Flaw was, I'm saying to you, husband, you am run away from the sadness. Alan Rickman's character is Dr. Pung, Ryan's psychiatrist. The dogs' names, because we're on multiple dogs now, are Jimbo, Jambo, Rambo, and Flint, 4 Yorkshire Terriers. The dog's cause of death, poisoned from eating Ryan's antidepressants. The flaw resolution. After learning to embrace uncomfortable feelings, Ryan triumphantly claims that he doesn't need Dr. Pung's medications to be happy and fires him. As he walks away, Dr. Pung slips on a puddle of Ryan's tears and dies from the resulting head injury. In the epilogue, Ryan begins to realize that suffering has power beyond human understanding.
That left turn of just like he's ascending.
That's where it starts doing the Daveyoufool Volta, where it starts switching into like, this is funny and also disturbing, which makes it funnier.
Yeah.
And then boy does it pick up as the next couple go.
Dogum Uvi 27 710 Sply. And the flaw is, you husband, you needing step up bowling game. Alan Rickman's character, Chet Warpledang, the Frumpt family bowling team's rival. Dogs, Lasaruni, a collie. Dog's cause of death, Jesus Christ. Beaten to death with a bowling ball by Chet in an attempt to demoralize the Frumpt family.
For bowling, you know. This is even more serious business than Big Lebowski.
Jesus. Flaw resolution. After locking himself in his bedroom for a week-long depressive state, Ryan emerges with a significantly increased muscle mass. In a montage, he scores 700 consecutive perfect games at different bowling alleys across the country. In shame, Chet commits suicide by choking on a bowling pin. Ryan expresses suspicion at his newfound ability to score less than 300 points, but his wife reminds him, in losing dogs, of that you are loved dogs. Your greatness begins itself.
True.
Oh, jeez.
All right, Dave.
All right. So number 117. That's Dogum Uvi, Farm of Dogums, and his flaw is, in future you will die on some day. Alan Rickman's character is Agent Margelstein of the FBI, investigating malignant paranormal activity in the neighborhood. The dogs are 500 Labradoodles, each one of them named Sacrificey. The dog's cause of death. During a cookout, Sacrificey number 8 approaches Ryan. Having gained the ability to speak, he says, "Time has come, master, as it must," and spontaneously bursts into flames, along with the other dogs. A neighborhood-wide conflagration ensues, after which only the Frompt residence remains. Flaw resolution. Ryan's tears of grief cover his body in a thin film of liquid, which slowly changes the color of his skin from white to a shining gold. In a forest of 500 oak trees, they shoot from the soil of what used to be his backyard. Agent Margelstein shoots Ryan to no effect, as the agent chokes to death on a whirlwind of the dog's ashes. Ryan boasts, "You know not a thing. Tragedy upon tragedy upon tragedy has sculpted the skin clay of my soul into the plaster of perfect harmony. Scar tissue toughens until indestructible as being skin. Someday the flagellation of the self forces me become greatest guy than all. Until then, I am become greater guy than one."
Absolutely beautiful.
That's great. And so we didn't read two of them, and then there is a hint at a connection to Korbinik and Three Moons, but I don't want to give that away because it is so fucking good.
This is like this article. When did you post this? What year was this posted?
This one is really
2019.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one should be
still before COVID.
Should be 3 or 4 times its rating. This is such a good fucking word. It's so funny.
Like Harry,
this is the one that made me. This is the one that made me write American very obviously, since it's the same sort of deal.
Let me just say it was inspired by all the frustration I was having with some of the customers in my job.
That makes a lot of sense.
You can tell they got these dogs just for their own character development.
Right.
Well,
see, that's funny. But also hearing you're complaining about them making all of these dog movies that are all the same dog movie, and that also inspiring me was really funny because the TotleighSoft that I wrote that's inspired by this one was also inspired by how irritated I am that everything is called American something now because titles are all creatively bankrupt.
Yeah. It's going to be even worse now with the
That's your
strike.
description of the freaking Copernicus is Space America. That's perfect.
That's utterly perfect.
That was fun.
We talked about that on the Victim episode?
Yeah, we talked about that in the Victim episode, yeah.
So good.
That one totally rips off the format of this. Like, it completely rips off the format and ends with a Corbinic stinger, I think. It's just like... but it's okay, because then in the author post I go that I'm blatantly attempting to imitate Daveyoufool with the imposter challenge, which is of course created so that you can write something exactly like somebody else and then not have to overcome your fears and contact them and ask them if it's any good, because it's against the rules of the challenge to show it to the person you're impersonating. So I don't have to be like, hey,
According
Dave,
to my
you
partner's reaction, you did it perfectly.
That's so funny. The only Three Moons initiative that I made a reference to was I did one which was part of our what was it? Contest? Department?
Yep, department contest.
Right. So we did a department with Ep where it was about buying and selling of anomalies. That was their way of containing it. So it was all like attempting to do like not like Marshall Carter Dark stuff. It was all about like actually like these things are just floating around the world. So who's going to go into like anomalous, yard sales and whatnot. And one of the ones I did for it was about a satanic panic corporation that was actually.
So you want to summon a demon thing?
Basically, yeah. That's the one I did that image for it. Yeah. And
That was.
yeah, I like that one a lot because I like the idea of making it so that this was a real corporation that was actually spreading Satanism that worked, and that the Foundation was the one that actually created the satanic panic to just diminish the realities of the few instances of this really happening. But I ended it with a total 3 Moons initiative thing, but it was before the Foundation would have heard about it. So it's on a fax machine, and the fax machine doesn't have the right characters to do the moon, so it just ends with like 3 square boxes.
Right, 'cause they send the usual note, but instead of because we were talking about this right in Crit, and you're like, this takes place before the rest of the Corbinic articles. Like they can't know about Corbinic before they know about Corbinic. And it's like, well, wait, maybe they can if they sent their message via fax.
We apologize for stepping in there.
Corbinic is connected to a lot of different parallel iterations of Earth.
Sure.
So it could be just a different Earth.
We apologize for stepping in there, but it's for the best, despite the saying, the devil you know really isn't better. You are watched, you are you are watched, you are protected, and you are very welcome. So much fun. Anyway.
I know, right?
Yeah, the one time that I used Corbinic was in 6500, and
yeah, you did.
The only comment anybody ever gives on the dialogue in my section of that is I have a Corbinic note where they're very, very unhappy with the Foundation, and I think
you are in deep shit, my son.
Oh, you've seen that, have you? Yeah, like it's quoted 50 times in the YouTube comments. Everybody.
I mean, we ended. Which one did we? We ended the 3 Moons initiative with that. The episode, we ended it literally. You said you were watched, you're protected, and you are loved, and then I ended it by saying, "And you're shit out of luck, son."
Right. Yeah. We're very funny, is the point of all of this.
Yeah,
anyway,
all three of
movie
us
remains just.
I mean, you are.
This is SCP-4587. Go read it and upload it. Or
just
upload it.
Yeah, well, read it, man.
Trust me.
It's so fucking good.
You just listen to a reading of it, for Christ's sake.
Right,
To go upload it.
Well, you didn't say the ending.
That's true.
That's true.
But the next one we're going to talk to is actually by Jack Ike. Actually, 2 of the ones we're going to talk about are
we got a couple
Jack
Jack
Ike.
Ikes in here.
Which
These are pretty fucking good ones.
Oh, they're great. This one is 3492, and it's Totleigh's Unbarrable Existence by Jack Ike.
Borrowing the whole thing from Porridge.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the bars.
Let's see. It's a Caucasian male claiming to be named Wet McSqueegee. And my favorite part is that anytime they try to spell it...
Dix McSqueegee at first, but I don't know. I think they changed it for some reason.
Oh, okay. But I like how anytime Where is it? Okay, here's the footnote. Despite grammatical inaccuracy, SCP-3492 will always record its name without the correct capitalization.
Good.
Sporadically undergoes prominent spatial and/or temporal distortions centralized upon random portion of the entity's body. And I'm just going to read these because they're horrifying. Dislocation of bodily proportions, with a footnote that includes the joints or limbs, to another fixed position relative to the remainder of the anomaly. Over or under exaggerated movement of bodily portions along a single axis, frequently resulting in the above. Over or under exaggerated rotation of jointed limbs, frequently to physically impossible extents. Supposed rotation or movement of bodily portions along an unobservable higher spatial dimensions. Spontaneous loss of one or more spatial dimensions, resulting in SCP-3492 converting into a lower dimensional form, so he becomes flat. Prominently slowed or accelerate motion of bodily portions. Apparent motion of limbs independently from the anomaly. Motion of bodily portions occurring in an inverted manner. Pseudo-precognitive abilities resulting from 3492 briefly undergoing a period of inverted time. And my favorite part is there's a note so it doesn't really cause him pain because it's intangible to the rest of him, so you can't really feel it. It's okay, don't worry. Properties stem from the fact that it is a component of a partially functional program developed by TotleighSoft Corporation as a proof of concept intended to promote interest in physics engine being developed. I love that it's found in an E3 booth. It's maintaining a booth for TotleighSoft at E3 in 2017. The interviews are like the meat and potatoes of this, and I don't want to give away too much, but it is
the best parts of it are the twists.
Yeah,
there's a couple twists.
There's some really good twists. I mean, I just love how he starts yelling he's illegal. It's just so funny.
I cannot unhear this guy as being spoken with Team Fortress 2 sentence mixing kind of shit you see on YouTube.
That would be pretty good.
It says must be one of the few occasions of Gawk being written by somebody who isn't Daveyoufool as well.
Yeah. And it's just, this perfectly captures that feeling, but it feels, like his own thing, like Jack's own thing. It's just, good God. The ending is so fucking... I'm not gonna give it away. All three interviews are good, but the last interview is just wait, what's happening? And then when it dawns on you, it's just it's funny, but it's also kind of horrifying.
Yeah, this is one of those groups of interest where you look at it and go, that is so much fun. If I get an idea for it, I want to have the fun with that, and that's clearly what happened with Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, because I don't really want to give away the interviews, I don't know if if there's anything else you guys want to say about it. I just think people should go read it. It's really good. It's well rated,
but to talk about it more without giving away the epic twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a few actually from Jack that did that. I think in previous episodes where the best part is the part that we don't want to spoil because you got to read it.
Yeah, but that's the point of the show. Honestly, is to explain. Kind of give a launching off point to dig into these GOIs and eventually soon canons.
Yes, because we're not going to read the entirety of Dragon's Dream. On the air.
No, I can't.
If you did, I would have you involuntarily committed.
Voluntary is compliance is not voluntary.
Oh, geez.
But yeah, okay. I want to talk about 6697 because I had not read this one. And it was out last year, and I guess I just missed it. But I had not read this before today. I think today. And it makes me angry how funny this is.
I remember I was...
the weird thing about this skip in particular, I was surprised when people said I captured the emotions and not characters well, because if people who know me in real life know one thing about me, I hate the ever-loving shit out of Seinfeld.
Me too! I hate Seinfeld.
I'm neurotypical. I'm neurodivergent. That's the opposite of what I meant. Yes. And for neurodivergent people who are empaths looking at Seinfeld, It's like I'm looking at the platonic, non-violent version of the Saw movies.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
It's like, I hate awkward social situations. Why would I subject myself to one of those for entertainment?
for me, it's like, A, I don't think it's that funny. B, or at all, honestly, most of the time. And B, the characters that are presented are so unrelatable and so awful. And I know that's the joke, but I don't give a shit because it's not funny. Like, it's just...
I like Always Sunny in
that's different.
Philadelphia, because it's like, it's the same premise, but it's like, oh, awful people doing awful things. But in that context, they're doing it for getting in shenanigans and having fun. In Seinfeld, it feels more like I'm being stuck on a plane listening to some guy talk.
Also, the difference in tone is not only... That's not the only difference, because Seinfeld seems to almost make you want to think that these people are somehow cool because of the way that they are.
It feels more cynical because of that.
Right. And Sunny feels like it's the creator saying people like this are a fucking like drain on our life. Like they're making these characters hilarious, but the show itself is being like, look at these douchebags. They are not, like it's... And then the way that Sunny always does the thing where they rotate who's going to be reasonable, because all four of them are insane. Five with what's his name?
I will say,
Danny
however,
DeVito.
that my ideal voice cast for Eric Gualtieri in Neverstone is absolutely Charlie Day.
Well, that's solid.
Sorry, that's a bit of a tangent.
We'll get his agent to call you.
Yeah. But yeah, I really just love how, like, Sunny, there's the rotating... One of the cast members will be the reasonable one. That will be like, you guys are being weird. This is not... And then it changes every episode. And it's not always, like, predictable. But it really works. Like, and, like, they all will have these moments where they are, like, saying the thing that we as the audience are all thinking. And then the next episode, they're a complete maniac. It's just so good. Except for the fact that Dennis is clearly a serial killer. Anyway, all right, back to this. SCP-6697, Serenity Never, by yourself, Daveyoufool, which is a collective designation for Show Must Go On series of video cassettes created by TotleighSoft Corporation. Although many have been referenced in other situations, only one of these videotapes has been found. And that's okay, because it's entitled Cinefold Seasons 1 through Infinity. It's 23 minutes long. The first minute is a brief promotional segment for TotleighSoft, including a frequently misspelled title card for the episode. The remainder of the video is an episode of Seinfeld, but the episode in question changes with every complete viewing, extending past the series finale and into a hypothetical and presumably infinite season 10. The maximum amount of episodes of new episodes is not known. And I mean, this one goes on for a bit, like, because we continue to see the progression of how things can kind of steadily get out of control. But the summary on the back cover is so good.
I love that so much.
Harry, you want to read it?
Yeah, sure. I think this would kill you if you tried to read this.
Yeah.
If you like, I could read it.
Oh, Dave, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. I will attempt to do it as Gok.
All right.
Ah, Cinefold. The magnificent shoe of what no things. Entrancing Americans all throw got the USA. But when we comes to the end of season 9, we ask, when season 10? Foo! Where is season 10? It cannot be over. Oh, grief. Wait no longer, Cinefold consumer, like the Zen Gartings of Buddhist Marx. TotleighSoft is extend to have never-ending video technologies of heart-wrenching dogga movie into the ha-ha realm of comedy. Every episode is something new. See Jari and Lay, Garg, and Grammar going on through our adventures, occasionally saying yada and other stupid words forever. Declaims her, due to many lost complaints about most noble and bountiful TotleighSoft mastery of English language, you jerks. TotleighSoft is being receptive of criticisms and such, and have used powerful TotleighSoft because computers algorithm to allow characters of Sendiford to write themselves.
And there's
that's amazing.
far too many episodes to even come close to discussing it. And I mean, not to say that, you know, it's not a very long, it's not a super long article, but there's enough of them. George goes on a fucking journey. And I love, there's like a real metatextual, you know, almost not pataphysical, but like there's a sense that like the character of George, and it becomes explicit at some point, just becomes aware that he's stuck in a story with Jerry. And it's just so much fun. I mean, there's bits where George just decides for like 54 episodes to not speak. So the show is going on and people are making the jokes, and then they turn to Jerry, the camera focuses in it, and then George says nothing. And then, you know, laugh track goes anyway. Or when George decides to quit and then Jerry doesn't know how to respond, so he just keeps having the scripted conversation with the empty space in the booth.
Or when he's supposed to be in a scene and he never shows up, they just act like he is, and
right.
Like, the hand to him just falls onto the floor, and
they hand him the coffee. Right, Kramer hands him the coffee cup just shatters on the ground, and then he tries to drink it as if pretending to be George.
And then, of course, because this is what this is, it starts out like just vaguely dark and very funny, and then suddenly the dark comes even more.
If any of these characters was to lose their shit and become a maniac, a real one that was actually dangerous, George is 100% the right one.
Yes.
But yeah, I give this credit for making something so goddamn funny that is based on a sitcom that I fucking absolutely hate. So bravo to you.
It's kind of beautiful when you think about it, because TotleighSoft is able to make a successful version of Seinfeld that, like, the Seinfeld dialogue is not TotleighSoft dialogue. Seinfeld is apparently so low quality that TotleighSoft can nail it.
Well, they wrote it themselves.
Was that the reason that the grammar is actually working for this version of Seinfeld is because TotleighSoft had to outsource to something that made the characters self-aware.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, because you use that ongoing thing about their grammar so terrible, and you use this thing where they try to get around that, which also allows for the fact that George is now deviating from the plot, because you've given the characters the ability to write the plot, and he's writing himself out.
I have to read this one part. George pulls out a pistol from his jacket and cuts the line at the soup Nazi place. Jerry, no! George, fuck it, making the most of it. He enters the restaurant and goes behind the counter. Laughing wildly, he shoots Soup Nazi 7 times at point blank. Neither Soup Nazi nor the customers acknowledges. George, no pulse for you! Soup Nazi lies dead. George messily devours a fistful of broccoli cheddar soup straight from the pot. The only sounds heard are the incorrectly timed laugh track and Jerry's screams of horror. Bravo.
So good.
I came up in my complete and utter self-centeredness with an alternate title that would work for this, which is The Madness of King George.
Oh, that's actually an episode title.
Is it? Yeah, that's so fun. I didn't even notice that. That's
for the piece, actually.
Hilarious.
You're on exactly the same wavelength.
That's amazing.
It's To Madness of King Gorg.
Right. Gorg.
I was around in various Discord servers when this one dropped, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, he's doing it again! Like, everybody was. When one of your articles, I don't know how aware you are of this, but when one of your articles drops, there's quite a few chats that suddenly explode with people going, "Oh look!"
I only joined Discord recently, and it's pretty. I'm having fun with it.
I've seen you in a server that I don't know if they've officially announced it yet, so I'll just pretend that it doesn't exist.
Really?
I know, for 2 years.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, you got a lot of fans.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me happy.
And
deal with that existential confusion.
And most of the fans of the show are at least aware of your book stuff, because most of the episodes have included a link
I gotta say,
your first one.
Welcome.
I
haven't read your book yet. I actually have to read your book.
There's 3 of them.
Yes.
I love them. I mean, I know I'm kind of biased
There's going to be
because
a fourth soon.
yeah, because you had me read it even before it was out, which I was very, very flattered by, even though I didn't finish it until after it came out. But my God, I'm such a big fan, and I'm not just saying that because I like your stuff already. Like, it's such a different. I love that it's such a different thing. Like, I was like, oh, this is gonna be like 3 Moons. It's not. It's very funny, but it's completely a new track for your writing. I love it so much.
Well, book 4 is going to be the last book, but I will say at some point, one of the characters, one of the good guys, as it were, is going to say verbatim, "You are watched, you are protected, you are loved."
Oh yes.
I'm
gonna be reading it like on my phone and like turn to look at my empty room and be like, see, he said the thing. It's gonna be like that scene from Simpsons.
Before we leave this one, I just have in my notes to note down, there's 2 episodes in a row where, of course, these characters, if they die, they come back to life because the torment of being on network television is eternal, right? And the first episode where George gets so disconsolate, he kills himself. And then in the episode that immediately happens after, they are called Bye Gorg and Hi Gorg.
Hi again, Gorg.
No way out, Gorg. Bye, Gorg. That's such a funny title for an episode where a character kills himself. Bye, Gorg.
I just love he begins a 104 episode story arc of making a journey on foot to the other cities to find survivors of the 174 event.
It's so good.
The end of Seinfeld Galleon.
Yeah, definitely read it. But yeah, okay, so SCP-4962, which is Dak Hunt Remissed by Jack Ike and Swagati.
I fucking love this one.
Oh, it's incredible. It also takes a very uncomfortable turn towards the end. It's an anomalous video game of Duck Hunt Remaster, but spelled Dak Hunt Remissed. Instances are shipped with a game cartridge, an instruction manual written in TotleiSoft broken English, and a tripod-mounted 50 caliber M2 Browning heavy machine gun, colored to resemble the 1989 NES Zapper, which is -A. And what's funny about this is that the game will not work if you try to use a Zapper or the controller. The game will only work with this Browning heavy machine gun, which fired at the TV. The bullets demanifest, but the sound and the force of the gunshots are still. So you're still going deaf. Like just the idea. The idea of a kid sitting behind a giant fucking gun that I couldn't hold, and I'm 6'2" and 200 pounds. Like it's just that's amazing.
Those DACs are fact.
Yeah, and then it just kind of there's no limitation on the bullets, and they can just fire like endless amounts, and the thing that really it's just absurd and hilarious when you get to that point. And then whenever a player fails to fulfill the requirements of the screen will display an approximation of the in-game hunting dog, which if you've never played Duck Hunt, that dog is a piece of shit.
Everybody who's ever played the game hates that fucking dog.
Holding a bloody duck above the words "Game Over," as several portions of the image are visibly higher resolution than what the 8-bit Nintendo system should allow. The image is theorized to be displayed through anomalous means. And then you open up a collapsible and you see just one of the most upsetting jump scares in a funny article I've ever seen. Like it's it's this dog that already has weirdly human eyes and the worst creepy teeth ever, holding up a bloody ass duck. Game over. And then if you're playing the game and you see the game over screen, but not people that were just watching, they will start seeing this dog out in real life. They will begin showing up and demonstrating methods of stalking, maiming, killing, preparing, and cooking a variety of birds, predominantly ducks, to the player. Several days after initial infection, the anomaly will begin appearing in the player's dreams, initially encouraging them to complete the game and suggesting methods by which they can improve their gameplay. The footnote is awareness of how to achieve this appears to be limited. Players capable of consistently surpassing level 60 report that the suggestions are vague, redundant, and unhelpful. Over time, the anomaly will become increasingly aggressive, instead punishing the player for failing to complete the game. So fucking good. I mean, it's just so... I mean, it's already turned creepy with that picture, but it kind of swings back into, like, it's pretty absurd. I mean, the fact that horror can be absurd is just so perfect. But without giving it away, the ending is a D-class test that goes so fucking dark. It's just like, it hits you in the face with a frying pan. Like, it's just so bleak.
Yep.
I think this is one of my favorite TotleighSoft articles, honestly, because it combines two of my greatest passions in life: TotleighSoft and ducks.
Oh, that's funny.
Ducks, do you?
Ducks.
I just really fucking love ducks.
That's so. That makes a lot of sense. I'm not gonna spoil it for Harry, but that makes sense with the representation in the book.
The duck representation.
You'll understand. You'll understand when you get there.
Is that really a spoiler, considering airing that on the Amazon page for my author shit, I list Ned Krakus as a talking duck.
Oh, that's funny.
Do you want to read the blurb for this one, Dave?
Yeah.
Oh yes. Give me.
You
a
have it
second.
open or?
Shot. All human love shot Dak is family tradition, and we all knows they lesser life. Now fine, this is best game for to shoot Dak even better, because now gun attachment is HD control, plus new advanced AI animal catch.
Oh god.
Shot. Oh,
Shot.
Shot Dak. Oh, human love shot Dak.
And we all knows they lesser life.
So good.
I am not even exaggerating with how much I love ducks. I mean, have you seen them in flight? They just look like they're so busy, like they're late for duck school.
That's amazing. This is wildly underrated. This is only at 51 right now, and that happens
to Jack Ike.
It does happen to Jack Ike. This is unacceptable. If you're listening, click on the link in the show description, please, and go read this article. It's very short, and it's very funny / horrific. But
especially love that thing where it's like a Browning machine gun and actually has the force of it.
That's so funny. And also the machine gun behaves like a machine gun if you point it away from the game too.
Right. It's only right. Sorry. Yeah. No. Totally. It demanifests when it strikes the screen, but that means the bullets are really coming out.
I love it.
Oh god.
So things that I love.
Yeah, Dragon's Dream, which is SCP-7702.
I hadn't completely finished this one until this time, so I started again from scratch and read it, and this one's a voyage.
I'll be honest, I did not make it all the way through it, but I'm going to today. But that's because, I mean, there's no reason to like try and summarize everything. This one, like you were saying, I can see this as a 1001 because it just feels like such... One of the things that blows me away about Three Moons is that you set up this whole world, and there's all these details of, other creatures and stuff on Korbanik, and there's all these ideas like this lore. It's lore rich, but then a lot of the articles kind of just do their own thing, and it's the funny joke, and then it's more building out the world through implication because of its effect on our real world. And the thing that I've always been blown away by is that you never went back and were like, I'm going to do another thing that's just specifically, fleshing out this world. And this one does that same thing again by establishing a different, not rival, but alternative afterlife called Kegelpagan. Or Kegelapan. Kegelapan. I also really like that the anomaly seems to be working for a enemy / rival to Jalakara, right? Jalakara.
Oh yeah, Vuo.
Yeah,
I actually mentioned him first in I forget what number it was, but it was 7922, and for my last trick.
Oh.
It's not explicitly listed as a Three Moons article, but it does mention all the names of the gods.
Oh, nice.
The 8 princes.
So, what is this? This is a area of forested wetlands comprising 1 square kilometer. The interior consists of circular pond surrounded by a thick border of mangroves. The trees have an anomalous repulsive effect on matter trying to pass between them, meaning you can't pass through these trees. This area is capable of teleportation through unknown means, all locations being in temperate and humid biomes, which is, I think they said, like in Southeast America, the Africa, and Southeast Asia, right? SCP-A refers to a large barn built on a wooden pier on the center of the pond. The barn has no doors. The only known way to enter is through a small corrugated metal shack attached to the southern wall. -B is a humanoid entity of variable appearance, most often seen on a lawn chair next to the shack's entrance. It changes its appearance and spoken language to suit the community's majority mental image of a hospitable, eccentric, and harmless bartender. When the anomaly teleports away, the area it was turns into a patch of thin black slime, which is organic but an unknown genetic makeup. And if somebody touches it, they get like intense feelings of paranoia, which goes away if they wipe it off.
Yeah.
Which, of course it would.
I imagine I would, yeah.
Humanoid entity uses the anomaly to lure people in and offers them a drink because there's all these advertisements about being the best drink imaginable, or I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And once somebody accepts, he shows them into the barn and they're never seen again. People can refuse and leave, but if you go in the barn, that's it. No one sees you again. And during an investigation, the researcher who volunteers, and this is relevant, researcher who volunteers, Naismith, thinks that she's suicidal because amnestics have no effect on her and she's seen too much. Like there's a list of the anomalies that she's been a part of, including 231 and all these other ones that are just so fucked up. And amnestics for some reason doesn't work on her, something genetically. And they try to get her kicked off, and the O5 is like, no, that's great. If she wants to die, she's a more ethical candidate for this investigation than someone who doesn't want to die. Which I guess is true.
It's not wrong.
Yeah. And she talks to this person who changes their experience, and they clearly know that she's wearing a camera. They clearly know about the Foundation. And they offer her something that's supposed to taste like orange Faygo.
And does not. Among other things, that is not what it's supposed to be.
And then because she was equipped with SCP-2922, which is the telepathic phone thing that leads to the discovery of Corbitic in the first place, she not only finds out there's an afterlife, she gets to send in voicemails. But my favorite part is that immediately following Dr. Salas' death in the investigation, the phone at Site 59 assigned to her SCP-2922 implant received 2,384 voicemail messages over the course of 5 seconds. It is unknown how it was able to circumvent the phone's data storage limits. But
I like this bit because it also that's also a good early explanation of the fact that she's in this for a very, very, very long time in her perspective, but it's not a very, very long time in our world.
Yeah, it's 5 seconds. I really like it because it also explains like her like consistent frustration at like sending these oral reports. And then why aren't you picking up? Like, what the fuck? But it also creates.
I have friends who send them that fast and get mad.
Right. But it also sets up a good mechanism for why we're just reading like a bunch of her thoughts and stuff. Like, as opposed to like so many other articles that have to find some reason why we have all these like firsthand accounts. This is like this wonderful mechanism for like, well, we can just get as many thoughts as we want from her.
Yeah, like so much of this article is transmitted dialogue logs, and like, man, you found a way to like justify writing in the one way of writing that I can always do. I can always start writing one of these. You found a way to do that. That's good.
I really like that we get to hear her inner thoughts as well.
Yes, that's
and
right.
They start designating in the voice logs that this is her voice or this is her mental transmission. Just like fucking shit on a rounded whore tangle.
I was just looking at that one. She's not happy. She's generally not happy.
I mean, she's like significantly suicidal and pissed off at all the horrible things that she's done because of the Foundation. And she just keeps saying, like, the whole reason she tells the guy in the barn why she wants to go ahead and take this stuff, whatever's happened, she just wants it all to go away. She wants it to go back to 10 years ago when she didn't know anything about the Foundation. And that asshole goes, yeah, drink this, that'll do it.
Dies.
I like how he offers her 2 forms of death without telling her that one of them's going to kill her. But yeah, I mean, I read a big chunk of it.
Epic fantasy unfolds.
It is. It is just full-on epic fantasy in another reality where Solace meets and ingratiates herself with locals, and then not so ingratiates herself with locals.
Well, yeah, like that's I've written down 2 things, and they both relate to the locals.
Back.
Hey, sorry, what was that? Did we die? Did Dave just die?
I am not dead. I am very much alive. Thank you.
Okay. There were just 2 things that I copied down because otherwise I would have copied the entire article down into my notes. But they relate to the locals, so that's a good segue. She describes them as upper bullshitonians at one point. And at one point when she's trying to, because she's already an expert swordsman in like the real world, and she's learning to fight the monsters in this world, and everybody else,
Kendo.
right, Kendo, and everybody else doesn't want to fight the monsters, or they're too afraid, or they're completely useless. She goes, "So what? Is this what fucking happens when everyone in a town full of puppets asks the blue fairy to turn them into a real bitch?"
Not gonna lie, I borrowed her sort of aesthetic from Liv from Neverstone.
Yeah.
With just the way she talks.
100%. Totally get
Well, I'm glad to hear it because that means there's more of this. Because I absolutely adore this character.
it. Liv is a little more unhinged, though.
Oh yeah, she kind of has the sort of Team 4-star Vegeta thing about her.
Yes. Whereas Solace just seems like just sick of it. Like, I don't give a shit. This is the afterlife? Fuck all of you. I love so much. It's Transmission 73. The fuck are you on about? Wallace, who's a merchant there. I said your barter's no good here. I got that part. What I need is an explanation. Need it then. And then ... I can just imagine Solace being like, "You son of a..." So, am I stealing the beer I was asking for? Leave before I call the Greek over, who's another character. Adorable. You really think he's going to risk losing more people to scrapes by throwing half the security force off the cliff? Which is the Greek's consistent threat. I'm going to throw her off the cliff. What are you supposed to trust you now? After all you've done is enable Feck, he's been waiting around for a chance to let all the scrapes through. Okay, blah, 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 blah. My favorite part, though, is small bottle uncorks. What are you doing? Is that paint? Is this your idea of vandalism? Solace. Scrape mating pheromones. Your boot's about to meet the love of its life. And in her brain, actually, it's berry juice.
For context, scrapes are these basically giant sea urchins.
Right.
You don't want them mating with your car.
No. Solace, short oh, it doesn't wipe off, it just spreads. What's the point of this? Petty revenge? Well, mission accomplished. The point is, hand over all your beer, now. She's real good.
She gets along real well with everybody.
She's absolutely a pain in the ass to everyone she talks to.
It's so hard to do this, though, because this character could, with just turn the notch in either direction very slightly, be irritating, and she's not. To
No.
get this character who is always in bitch mode all of the time and have them be sympathetic and likable is like a really tough dance, and it works 100%.
Yeah, she's very, very funny. But yeah, but funny. But then also, this is, much like Last Ride of the Day. There's real weight to these events as well. And then the connection to TotleiSoft is that they are still testing 2527, which is the Lamazeus statue, and they get a phone call because apparently it's just doing shit now, and they find out new hidden abilities, including it's being telepathically connected to Solace. Just
basically, there's this DLC package for
right.
Massey's Big Chance.
So good that comes back.
It's
They
very
download DLC and it's actually DLC for Massey's Chance. Query: are you the entity designated open quote the Sphinx or whatever close quote?
Oh god,
I love
that whole section. I admit, I was playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts at the time, and I was just sort of just picturing a fucking Massey-shaped gummy ship.
Well, I mean, let's face it, playing Kingdom Hearts is very traumatic. So I understand.
Very dark story.
Oh yes, it is very
Heartless.
traumatic.
It's a heartless story.
Oh, look at it.
I hate that game. Anyway, I
Do
really.
you have any idea how close I was to putting Era's Nobody in fucking book 4? I kinda did.
I like Project Thought Transmission 1513. Redacted with prejudice. 2 footnotes. 1 footnote. Footnote 6. Which also, I like that this is a significantly long article, and you have maybe 10 footnotes. Bravo. Cannot overemphasize this. Unless it's necessary for the purpose of containment, sexual conduct with an anomaly will always be wrong, no matter how consensual. Project Thought will continue, but Dr. Solace has been posthumously demoted to D class. In addition, given the situation, the draft of her civilian cover obituary has been rewritten to claim that she died from injuries sustained while committing bestiality. Sasha De Laurentiis, SCP, is Site 59 disciplinary chief.
And Director Namath has the next footnote and goes, come on, the obituary is a bit much, don't you think?
Oh, so good. Yeah, but everybody, just go fucking read this. Read this and last Ride of the Day and just, stop pretending like comedy on SCP doesn't work. Because that's bullshit.
Oh, it's so good. It's just a great article. This one and Last Ride of the Day are two of the epics of all time, and they're so fucking funny and they're so fucking clever, and the world building and the sheer spiraling out of controlness in both of these articles.
Well, I gotta say, you guys have been some really much needed positivity. I've been going through a lot of weird shit mentally lately, and it just helps to know that my work is actually affecting people in this way.
Good. That somewhat makes it less funny that I was going to say I hope you were having a shitty day so that this could have improved it. And then
that's okay. That's just a safe assumption to make with me.
Yeah, no, but I totally get how that effect works. And man, we're not putting it on.
No,
we love reading this stuff. It is so much fun.
Awesome.
It's so good.
I mean, just like we've continued to
hearing it.
break down laughing while talking about these. We did the 3rd or 4th episode with 3 moons, and we just consistently, while trying to explain an article, just busted up laughing.
Just keep laughing.
Just 2 hours, and just be like, "This is good. This is great."
My partner does too. She ends up playing it for people while we're at work.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
We work together.
Wait, you playing what? Playing the podcast?
Your podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
Work vans for the job, and she likes playing the podcast for people while we're driving to the clinics.
Well, thank her. That's amazing.
That is awesome.
But yeah,
God, it's so wholesome.
it is kind of nuts. It is honestly, not to get overly whatever, but it is really nuts to me every time I see the number of downloads, even though it's not 20,000 or whatever. It's crazy that hundreds of people listen to us talk about this stuff that we would like to talk about anyway. It's just
I'll try not to think about that because then I'll freeze. Stop being an agent of chaos.
Anyway,
chaos squats must continue.
Diarrhea for everyone. So
fighting a beef ox. Damn it! We just blew our fucking ending lines all on a go. Oh
That's
well.
True.
Carrying on.
Hey guys. Well, hey, let's do some emails. I didn't even do the transition.
Some emails, he says. Fucking hell.
I know we got a lot. I hit the Discord.
Emails. I feel more like Strong Bad already.
Oh yes, can you do a strong bad voice? I could try doing a strong bad voice. If you're bad at it, we can both be bad at it.
Nice.
Hey guys. So how about them SCPs?
This is gonna be for nobody. Okay, we're gonna read at least one of these emails in a strong bad voice.
Let's do all of them that way.
Okay. Well, anyway, who's going first? Have you got
I'll
the
go
outline?
first.
Okay, you got the list in front of you, Ferns?
There's Strong Bad. Hey guys, love the recent 001 proposals episode. I noticed there are always a few select authors you love to talk about in your show, and I was wondering, would you ever do an episode to only talk about one of your favorite authors, like Cadaver Commander, or IHP, or Daveyoufool?
And I put a note for myself that is hilarious timing.
Yes, I guess we would do a whole episode to just talk about one of our favorite authors.
2 of them.
Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah, because Jack Ike was in there. Is that what you mean?
Oh no, I meant we've done 2 episodes, but yes, Jack
Yeah.
Ike's articles that we talked about today are wonderful.
Absolutely. Yeah, and totally we would do
Thank
I'd
you,
love to
Mr.
do a
John
Cadaver
Ike.
Commander.
Oh my god, a Cadaver Commander episode would be fucking phenomenal. because his stuff is just so uniquely fitted that it would have to be just his stuff.
Yeah.
Professor Commander sounds like what a modern necromancer would be.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
it
think
does.
I think intentionally.
Yeah. No, okay, Jack Ike. You could do a whole episode on Jack Ike's 001 proposals.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely, we would.
Do you want to read this one from Gizmo, or you want me to? Oh, I'll
Sure,
do
I'll read
it.
it.
I'll do it because you like real surreal, sir. Which is the
Oh,
next
that's
one.
true. I do. Real sir.
Greetings from Gizmo. Sorry if it's been a while since last email. Good of you to collaborate with famous and heaply praised innovator Daveyoufool. I myself am big fans of his work, showing great recognition for his many contributions, such as Dick Turbing yet funny stories. TotleighSoft, because computers. Strunk Deadened Spacemen, Wild Ride of Day feature Meester, Ubu, and Neverstone LitRPG book series with the 3 book. Now he's just plugging for you. 3 book series with 3 books out and a fantastic 4th one coming out. Available on Amazon. Read them now. It's so good.
Yeah.
Actually, that's fucking true, guys. Go buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry I dropped the shtick for the last part. You shouldn't be, because that was painful to read. Seriously, how do you write entire scenes and dialogues written like this? I personally haven't read all of TotleighSoft yet, but I'm still working my way through the recent hub. But what I've read so far is very good. Shout out to Dogum Movie and American. These 2 are my favorites. And now I have one question, and that question is, computers?
The answer? Yes. What I will say about writing scenes and dialogues like that, I mean, I might have covered this already before, but what helps is that I was the whole Half-Life, Quarter-Life consequences and Half-Life, Full-Life consequences thing. That had a lot of inspiration and informative shit on me. But also, I might have covered this in the hub, but there's this aspect where, I read this shit from, a Jimmy John's poster. Because in Jimmy John's, when you go there, they have all these posters that are like, oh, this is how you should live your life. Proper apologies have 3 parts. Here's a Dave Barry quote, because they think their ass weighs a ton. And one of them was showing, if you rearrange the letters in a word, but keep the first and last letter, it'll still read the same.
Right. It's true.
And also, major shout-outs to Gizmo, because I was showing them a lot of my work for Neverstone, and they really helped me out with doing sort of a beta read for Book 4.
Nice.
And I gotta say, thanks to them, Book 4 is gonna blow it out of the water.
Gizmo's great. Gizmo started off, not just, but as one of our
awesome.
early solid fans, doing memes and stuff, and then was, inspired to join the site and has since contributed a bunch of articles and really, really well-written articles. Gizmo's fantastic.
Oh, you know it.
Anyway, Harry?
Yeah, checking my emails. Okay. My strong bad impression is gonna die almost immediately, and I'm gonna keep doing whatever voice comes out. So just be ready for that.
Hey, that's cool.
So this one is from Real Surreal Sir, my favorite word in the world. Hey, strong bad. Loved last episode. Great to have Plague on as always, and especially to hear him get into his own recent 001, as well as my own favorite from Daveyoufool. I saw he's on next, but I'm definitely not just saying that. Incidentally, I've never kept a secret of how old Fuddy Gawk is one of my favorite characters, so I know the upcoming one will be a treat. This actually sounds like the cheat doing Strong Bad's voice.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like the whole powered by the cheat
Powered
thing.
by the cheat Strong Bad, so that's... Well, pretend that was intentional. Anyway,
I did do it 9 times.
I am over here. Now I am over here. I can do that voice. Anyway, I was also surprised how most of other 01 proposals I'd heard of but never actually read. I guess I just need to put 001s on my reading list. Also, while we're at it, I would love to hear Dave's fave too. Wow, that was in my head, at least with my jaw vibrating in my ear. That sounded exactly right.
Good.
So what?
Yeah,
Dave,
what's your favorite 001?
Grigori has no idea what these are, but we're doing these voices
Well,
anyway.
my favorite 001.
You can just list off a few if you don't want to just say just one.
It's a bit of a toss-up, but I would say one of the things that's strongly in the running for my favorite 001 is Lily's Proposal, the one with all the whole world's gone beautiful shit. And honestly, I just love what they could do with just a little bit, and just the implications of that. I don't know, it's just something weirdly bittersweet about that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite is The Record for similar reasons.
Kate McTerrace's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not very long either.
Nope.
Oh, I guess. Should I answer? Was I supposed to answer this?
No, I mean, we kind of said our favorite ones last time.
I kind of didn't, because my
really?
favorite for a long time, and I don't know whether it still is, but one of my favorites was The Story of Your Life, Pickman's Proposal. I really liked that one.
That's great. And yeah, my actual favorite is not one of the ones that I mean, not the favorite. I mean, I love The Record and I love Spike Brennan's, but I know it's controversial. But Callanan's kills me. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm sure Callanan.
The Planet of Hands.
Yeah.
When you talk,
That's
I'm
fine.
Yeah, that
also a
was
big
a
fan of
pretty cool
placeholders,
one.
and especially because of how many people complain about it.
Which one?
Placeholders.
Oh yeah, Placeholders is
Friend.
great. I don't understand why people dislike it. Shut the fuck up. It's great. It's so much fun. I loved it for the first time I saw it. All right, let's read Nolan's. TotleiSoft produces high-quality disasters, not reliefs them. P. Hodson Gog,
Oh yeah, that's
founder,
from the 01.
founder and CEO of TotleiSoft. Love the show, guys. Y'all do a great service to the SDB community with your podcast. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you do.
We try.
Thank
You succeed.
That was
tries.
pretty short, so I'll read the next one too. I don't know how to say this name. UNC Griffin. This is the first episode in which I know absolutely nothing about the GOI, other than the article in which a million dogs terrorizes the afterlife. Hey! You just gave away the thing. So
okay.
I'm very excited to hear you talk about it. I have one general question. What are your favorite story ideas that you scrapped? Oh, could be base concepts that didn't make the cut, or a first draft of an article that was completely overhauled later.
That's a tricky one.
It is.
Well, you guys think of your answers. Because mine was my third article, SCP-5243, The Breach That Keeps On Breaching, was originally an article with a 12,000-word addendum detailing all of the weird alternate realities that it created. And the only person I could get to read my third article in its entirety with the, not addendum, but it was a supplement page. The only person I could get to actually read the supplement page went, I don't really get what you're going for here, just post the SCP without the supplement. So I did, and it was very successful. And then the 12,000-word addendum, several years later, is becoming 200,000-word books. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Well, for me, I would say it would definitely be the extended Dr. Spanko shit, because Dr. Spanko is very close to my heart. I love that little bastard. My partner and I have kind of an extended universe for him, but that's a separate thing altogether. But originally, when I posted him to the wiki, I had this thing where, like, 682 thought he was some kind of weird authority figure. There's some lingering aspects of that when people thought he was like, you am authoritator? Explainerate that shit. But, I don't know. It just wasn't that successful when I actually put it into practice. So I've just left that ambiguous from then on. I was like, originally I was going to have him be this weird eldritch abomination taking bird form. But honestly, I just like it as it is, with he's just this guy who's just very loud. And the only reason people hold him in any high regard is because they just think he's cool.
Well, it works.
That, and tying back to the Homestar Runner shit, Spanko took a lot of inspiration from the character of Hamsar.
Oh, Hamsar.
I'm the captain of the gravy train.
I can't think of any of his dialogue lines, but yeah, that's a strong
stuff now.
That's a strong bad email thing where somebody that's a good example of how they work. Somebody writes in an email and he mocks their grammar relentlessly half the time. So somebody said, "I really like your strong bad. I really like your website, but Homsar is my favorite character." So he invents Homsar because Homestar is the real character's name, and Homsar is a redneck idiot version of the main character. And then they stick around inexplicably, even though he made them up in his head.
But more specifically, like, he always speaks in this weird dialect where it's just all like,
I'm the belle
Was
of
the
the
pride of
ball.
the preachers.
Yeah, I'll send you some stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's really funny.
It does sound funny.
It's even funnier that we're just doing this and everybody who has no fucking idea what we're
I
doing.
know,
And we're going to
I know.
continue to do it because we have to keep the strong badge stick going for the next emails.
My answer to this is I'm not going to tell you because I'm going to write that article eventually. There's
Right.
one that a dash J that it will not let me go, and I will eventually make a way to make it work. But my first article was very, very different than it is now. When it first, I wrote the whole goddamn thing before I even got a green light, which was stupid, but whatever.
I can't say much to that. Most of my shit's cold posts.
Nice. Most of my stuff is too, except for Harry looks at the grammar.
Grigori sees my stuff. Sometimes Placeholder sees it, and
Yeah.
Rouston reads a lot of it.
Yeah, I'll have Rouston look at some of the stuff too. But
It's always there.
my first article was much more a complete ripoff of BPRD finding the dissected remains of the literal Judeo-Christian God. And it is nothing like that now. But
Very Xenogears of you.
yeah, Xenogears big influence on me, and so is BPRD. So unsurprising. But anyway, who wants to read this one from Cassandra?
Yeah, which strong bad's going to read that? Dave?
Yeah, Dave's turn.
Oh, I'll do it.
Hmm.
Cassandra, love me some TotleighSoft and a lot of Daveyoufool stuff in general honesty. I think Dog'em Movie and American are my favorite of the GOI that I've read so far. They very much like the sort of humor that 3Me and TotleighSoft both typically have. Question. Is the case of the characters like Hudson, Pagak, Dotto, and characters that have a sort of quirk in their speech pattern or grammar. These quirks can be a good vehicle for humor, repetition, double entendre, etka, but it's also the sort of thing that can, I'm sure, get on people's nerves if relied on too much. How do y'all go about writing characters that have that type of shtick to make the best use of it? Happy and National Twilight Zone Day, Cassandra Persandra.
Amazing.
My
do
goal.
Do my characters have vocal ticks and shticks? I don't know if they do.
So I've only done
Be able
one Dotto article, so I can only answer that.
Same.
So I did my entire purpose with 6780, which is the one I did with Ep, to cross over Dotto with Victim, was to continue to push Dotto's buttons until Dotto broke character and used punctuation, which I succeeded in. And at the end, that period is like the biggest. People have actually been like, "Why is there a period there?" Because he's that pissed off, he stopped his whole gimmick. But actually,
For me, I have kind of a
loved it.
rule where, like, if a character's using a particular speech pattern, like P. Hudson Gok or Dr. Spanko, and if you're looking it over and if it disrupts the pace of the article too much, like a part of it trips you up too much, then it's being too silly.
Yeah.
It's a delicate balance to make, but I also want to not make him sound too normal.
Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Pacing is really important.
It helps if I read aloud to myself.
Does that work with P.O.s and God?
Oh, God. You sound like a lunatic.
Yeah, sorry if I keep interrupting you guys too much.
No.
No, that's
You're
what
fine.
you're here for.
I can never tell the vibe I give off.
You're doing great.
Raging
You've been amazing.
asshole. That's what it. No, I'm just kidding.
You know it.
It's been excellent. This has been very funny.
Yeah, but I don't do a lot of
You hear that,
characters like
audience? You
this.
should have been laughing this whole
That's
time.
right. I don't do that a
Oh,
lot
geez.
with characters, but I think the whole point of it is to be as balanced as possible. You need a straight man, and the funny part of that is that you can then utilize the straight man to tell the funniest parts.
Right.
So with the Dotto stuff is just spelled weird, and does his Dotto speak? But all of the jokes are on Mary McPherson's part in that Victim article, all of them.
I have a very particular headcanon for the way Dado sounds as a voice.
Yeah.
Let's
He
hear it.
sounds like this, yes. I am Dado, yes. I like to do the pharmaceuticals, yes.
Nice, good
The sort of a
capitalist.
diminished waspinator.
Right.
Fine capitalist Dado. All right.
All right.
Harry, you want
So
to do
it's me.
JKCCs? JTKCCs?
JTKC. JTKC.
JD Casey.
Jeff
I remember watching the early episodes of SimCreate, and these two people kept
These two people.
mentioning this Daveyoufool guy, and I decided to check his stuff out. A few weeks later, and after going through your entire author page, you've become one of my favorite authors on the wiki, and your 001 is one of my favorites too. I know it's kind of silly to say this considering the nonsense you write,
Luckily, I'm not saying it in a silly voice.
but it's prime, excellent, and extremely well-written nonsense that inspires me to write more. Anyway, enough sappy shit, TotleighSoft time. SCP-6359 American and SCP-6697 Serenity Never are my two favorite TotleighSoft articles because they both capture the essence of pure stupidity, but buried deep within that stupidity is something dark and really disturbing. Besides that, both of these articles are fucking hilarious. I still crack up whenever I think about American Sniper and the idea of George Costanza trapped in a death loop hell with the episode titled By Gorg and Hi Gorg. Simply amazing. Questions. In a lot of your articles, the tone is pretty silly, and the tone only just ramps up until it reaches a silliness singularity. Relatable. But in your 001, you balance the comedic aspects with the gut-wrenching story of 0511. How do you balance these elements?
Fucking hell.
well, that's actually something that's very close to me, as it were. Basically, I had my grandma, Phyllis Jividen.
You stalked
She
your
would.
grandmother?
I come from a long line of basically English professors, and my grandma, Phyllis Jividen, who worked at Ohio University, was one, and she did her whole doctoral dissertation, I believe, on William Faulkner and the blending of comedy and tragedy, and how having both of them can increase the impact of the other. And ever since that whole thing happened with my grandma, the doctoral thesis, I mean, that has been basically the foundation for my writing style as a whole. And so, basically that's just the sort of vibe I've been wanting to give off ever since I started writing as a little wee babby Daveyoufool.
Wow, that's such a touching and serious and well formulated response. So
I
the
should
next
probably
question-
bounce it out by saying something silly. You're the treat, have a trophy.
I was gonna say, so, you handled that really well, and it was like a bit of gravitas, and it was very heartwarming.
If I want to buy a copy of Neverstone, do you get more money if I buy it as digital or paperback?
Oh, that's an interesting point. You see,
Digital.
neither, because the way I get more money is if you buy an audiobook copy, because I get 50% royalties from that, and that is some big honking royalties right there. And I have a narrator dude who is absolutely fucking delightful. His name is PJ Oakland, and he was in this one Jodie Foster movie. Well, it's a movie produced by directed by Jodie Foster called Little Man Tate. He was kind of a child actor in that, but he was also in a lot of other shit, and he was playing Descartes on that Young Sheldon show. That was sort of the Big Bang Theory spinoff. And I gotta say, his voice for Era or Era as he pronounces them. I don't give a shit how people pronounce my work. You could probably pronounce live as live or some shit, and I won't even care because that sounds Celtic. And he nailed Era. He is Era. I mean, he probably had a much better and less depressing life than him, but he does a fucking good job, and I trust that dude.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, buy the audiobooks.
But I think the answer
There's
between
even
the
a
two
fucking
options.
CD version of the first and second books.
That's awesome. I think between those two options they gave you, though, it's got to be digital's worth more to you, right? It's on Amazon, right? The digital one's always
the
a little
CD
better.
audiobook. I think it's the same amount of royalties.
Oh, okay. No, I meant if they were buying it to read it and not the audiobook, you get more money from the digital than you get from the paperback, right? Because their printing costs are fucking silly with Amazon.
I would say I get more money probably from the paperback.
Okay.
I think that's how my contract works.
So the paperback, but preferably the audiobook. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Thanks as always for the episodes. Can't wait for it to come out.
Oh, done.
Thanks, Strong Bad.
Oh, strong bit.
I do think that like the balancing of comedic stuff with gut-wrenching or horror is like a really... I don't know how to explain how I do it. Like, it's mostly just a gut feeling thing of like, okay, been funny for a bit, time to get weird.
Yeah.
Or the opposite.
Sometimes when I'm doing the sports and I gotta change up the routine with the like basketball and the freaking baseball, I just gotta change it up sometimes. These people's trying to fade me.
You're really good at that voice. Grigori's got no idea what we're doing.
No.
We're alienating everybody. I'm so good.
It's hilarious. It doesn't matter. It's still funny.
Oh no, I'm not too late.
All right, I'm going to read this one from Teeth. Oh no, I hope I'm not late. Not me, not just now looking up what TotleighSoft is. Oh, Teeth, no! Because I don't want to start another email with, I've never delved into blank, but I've just excited to learn about blank.
We'll do the blank episode later.
Says the poser who still has to catch up on basic lore. Should have seen this coming. So I should have probably opened the hub. Why will my dyslexia let me read this and not normal words? Well, that's fair. Anyways, I will yet again sound like a broken record here. I've only briefly heard of TotleighSoft once or twice. I'm always interested in messed up spelling. I'm curious as to what this is exactly. Also, my Wi-Fi is horrible right now and won't let me click on any links on the hub. For some reason, let me send an email, so I'm relying on you guys to fill me in as always. As long as
your podcast downloading ability will be unaffected.
That's right, and you better click on all the links and upload everything.
Yes.
And then do that for our entire author page. Thanks. But once again, I hope you all have an absolutely smooth recording. P.S. Oh, and Daveyoufool, Phantom is trying to Yu-Gi-Oh! Battle me for my Neverstone book report. Save me. I don't know what
Please send them to the Shadow Realm.
I assume that was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Reference.
Probably. I don't actually know shit about Yu-Gi-Oh!
Me
I just
either.
know about the Shadow Realm.
I remember seeing an episode of the cartoon and thinking it was really funny that kid had such crazy hair, and that also he sometimes spoke like he was, some eldritch deity, which I understand he was possessed by or something, but whatever.
Hey guys, I got a good idea. We've only got one email left. How about we read one word each until it's done?
One word?
Yeah, start with you, and then go Dave, and then go me, and then go you, and then go Dave, and then go me. We could read the whole email together like friends, because we're good friends.
Challenge accepted.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the order?
So it's you, then Dave, then me, then you, then Dave. Then
Okay.
me, just
All
like we were doing before.
All right. Hi.
I'm
Finally,
Writing.
this.
email.
Huh.
I
Just
Wanted.
thank
You.
all
for
Your.
doing
your
Podcast.
came
out
While.
me
was
At.
the
beginning
Of.
me
first
Year.
in
university
And.
eat
helped me a little bit to cope with ever-deepening anxiety.
What just happened?
It got real, so I had to get real.
All right.
Listening to all
that's
those
fair.
stories, discussions, and so on, or just having it on in the background while doing things. It helped. It wasn't the only thing that helped, but it surely was one of them. That's very
Aw.
nice.
Yeah,
So they're
I'm
at
glad.
the first year of the university, and we helped them to deal with deepening anxiety. and
That's really touching.
so we decided to just make a
You guys
complete
are doing
farce.
good work.
Yeah,
That's
sorry
really
we started
nice.
off making that a joke. That's genuinely touching. I'm
It's actually
so
funnier. It's funnier that it became touching and then we just stopped the joke. So
That's us. That's like, this is 100% us. Anyway, keep going.
I'm somewhat lucky every time such things happen because I find things like yours podcast, and that was mean of me, and could go on, giggle a bit on silly things, and blank things, and fish W things. Write down in translator from Polish to English phrase carp W and play it. Okay, been given instructions. To find new inspirations and ideas that are catching dust somewhere, hoping to be used someday. So anyway, to sum up this annoyingly long nonsense, not at all. Thank you, and keep up with your great job. Hope you'll do even better. Hear you later.
They will.
Thank you very much, Errorban. I think it was Errorban. The outline says Errorban. I think Grigori might have spelled your name wrong like an asshole.
Yeah, I'm the asshole when he's making the fist joke.
I get it, yeah.
It literally just says Carp W.
Carp W.
That's not even funny. Anyway, I'm
Thank
Yeah,
you,
but it says
Errorban. I
Carp
appreciate
W,
it.
but it smells like kielbasa.
Good. Polish jokes, good.
We promise that we are heartwarmed.
Yeah, no, genuinely, I'm really glad to hear that it was helpful and that you
As
were
you
able
should
to-
be.
I
You
mean,
guys
that's
are
amazing.
lovely.
It's
Well, I am,
genuinely
so are you.
very impressive and very touching that people find solace and entertainment in this thing that we do every once in a while because we can't
Yeah,
keep
if
on a
we-
consistent basis.
If we put
Hey, how
this
do you guys
email,
think you make me feel?
Great.
well, it was great to be able to just embarrass the shit out of you with constant praise for 2 hours straight.
You handled it well.
Oh,
You did.
jeez. I'm
This-
glad this can't show how much I'm blushing.
That would be hard to do in an audio part unless you said it out loud, which you just did.
Oh, we should have done like a heart rate monitor for him.
Oh, jeez.
That's way too much editing.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Considering my cholesterol level, that probably wouldn't be a good idea.
Well, maybe just like a good session of the chaos squats.
Oh, what can I say? I'm a
You
long
did it.
pants man, long pants.
you did it again. That would have you could have ended on that one, and you haven't done the boilerplate yet. That's okay. I have a quote from 2527 that'll end it. So
All right,
we'll be
great.
good.
Yeah, so our email here, if you want to write in something next time, is simplycreativepeople@gmail.com. The Twitter is at SIMCREAT, so simcreate, but without some of the letters. I'm at Grigori Karpin on Twitter.
Yeah. I'm at HarryBlank SCP for what it's worth.
And I'm Homestyle What now? I'm Daveyoufool.
He sure is. And he's got books if you haven't picked up that yet.
I
Yeah.
did.
Neverstone.
Books.
Google the word Neverstone. Follow
Do
through with
it.
a link, and then buy something because it's
Thank
great.
you very much for
My
coming,
friend
Dave.
name's
You were
Nick
hilarious.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You guys are lovely.
You can come on anytime you create an entire canon
Yeah.
by yourself and talk
Genuinely,
about it.
if you want to talk about something else,
What?
come on back.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes. All right, thanks, guys.
Always a pleasure.
I'm gonna
Massey
head
has
off.
eated your soul. Om nom nom delish nutrish.
You know it.
Wait, did he go? Is he gone? For everyone listening, Daveyoufool said thanks and goodbye, and then peace was out. Amazing. Thank you so
What a
much. All right, bye.
Bye.